that do it? Let's see here. Can you see and hear me, everybody? How's my audio? All right, beautiful. Thank you, Niffler. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Welcome back to fieldwork out in the late Cretaceous almond formation of southern Wyoming. We are back at Turtle Hill today. We're going to be collecting some more microvertebrate fossils and hopefully not getting a thunderstorm coming through here. It looks like that's going to drift that way and miss us, but cross your fingers. We shall see. But I'm glad everybody's here. Holy cow. We're going to have a fun, kind of chill stream today. I'm a little bit tired. It was a late night last night. We did karaoke again because we had some folks who were leaving this morning. So we had kind of a party night last night. I stayed up until about 2. Hopefully I'll get some better sleep tonight. But we're doing live paleontological fieldwork here on stream, and you're going to see hopefully a whole bunch of really cool little critters getting excavated. The remains of ancient fishes and turtles, possibly lizards, all kinds of other little animals that were living in this environment about 7 when these rocks were laid down here during the late Cretaceous period, like Campanian, Mr. Anywho, if it's your very first time here, then welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. We might be finding potentially some dinosaur bits here, but it's mostly going to be other critters that were living in this environment on today's stream. And we'll also be, who dropped this? Who had an apricot fruit strip today? Anywho, this is how I do science outreach, especially when I'm out in the field during the summers. I think this is my 13th or 14th summer in the field. I've been doing this almost every year since 2011, excuse me. Field work and my line of work, and I'm thrilled to be able to share that with all of you. So, welcome back to the field. And let's see here. Any news on Fisher's Fish? We will go take a look, Dr. Javasaurus. Yeah. And Ruiz Mario, how are you doing? Welcome back. Hope you've been doing well. Welcome to Wyoming. Yeah. We're really lucky right now. We've got some cloud cover, which is pretty pleasant right now. It's been fairly warm today and fairly still, so it's nice to have a bit of a respite from that. Yeah. Let me go grab my water bottle and go check in with those Turtle Hill boys down there. See what they're up to. Before I forget to, let me grab my visuals here. Oh, wrong case. We'll be needing these probably, especially if we get a raid with a bunch of new people. Let's see, there we go. Gotta hook that to my belt. Let's go take a look. Yeah. Anywho. Starmus says, how can you tell an iguanodontid from a hadrosaur from just cranial material? I mean, you usually don't have to because they will not co-occur in the same age of rocks. Yeah, so like here in the almond formation, we're not going to have iguanodontids. We will have hadrosaurs. But yeah, hadrosaurs, their mouth, they often have more of like a flared out kind of duck-style bill. There's differences in bits of the cranial anatomy, osteology. There's, I'm not sure if I can name any like hadrosaur synapomorphies right off the top of my head in a way that would make sense. But yeah, they're really different critters, and you don't expect to find them in the same environment. So you either have iguanodontids if you're earlier in the Cretaceous, or you have hadrosaurs if you're later, generally speaking. There's some that are kind of in between, but yeah. If Dyson Dinosaur shows up, he would be able to tell us pretty well. Is that a sage sparrow that just flew by? Holy cow. I need to photograph one of those guys. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. Call Me Trash, welcome back. It's good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. So again, we are here at the Turtle Hill site. I wanted to come here today because I didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked to last night with all the karaokeing, and I was basically in charge of that. So I was a little bit tired this morning, and this is a good site where you can just kind of chill out and work slowly, find cool small fossils, and it's good company here too with Fisher and Bennett. So yeah, how you doing, Bennett?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Come check out this.
Oh, what do we got?
Yeah.
Holy
Piece
cow!
from Melvius.
Wow. Skullbone.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know exactly.
It's not like it's not round enough.
Fisher said it was. Fisher, what did you say this was?
I believe that is the second post-infraorbital.
Second post-infraorbital.
So we found the first one in 2023.
Uh-huh.
And it's a diagnostic bone for Melvius because it's got a unique shape among amiids.
Nice.
So it's kind of got a teardrop shape.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the medial view from the inside of the skull. The other one we have is the lateral view from the outside.
Cool.
That's always something in the blue background.
Right. Infraorbital. So near the eye, I presume, given the name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too much about the cranial osteology of ray-finned fishes, but there's one of those skull bones right there. That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
And one of the bigger fossils we've found here.
Yeah, seriously. Very nice. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Great way to start the broadcast here. Thanks, Bennett. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. Now that's going to take a while to excavate because this rock is really, really friable. It's very delicate. You got to work around it real carefully. And yeah, but we can kind of track that progress throughout today's stream. Good stuff. And Upstairs Down says, do you often see decay in dinosaur teeth contemporaneous with when they were alive? Not really. You'll get broken teeth and stuff like that, but it's hard to say whether or not that happened while the animal was alive. Dinosaurs shed their teeth all the time. So, I don't know, a given dinosaur might have a given tooth for only about a year before it sheds it, so there's not a whole lot of time for decay to take place. But occasionally you do see stuff like, say, a dentary, a lower jawbone, where some of the teeth are impacted in there. So, like, they went crooked and then, like, it got infected or something like that. So it's not like you've got teeth constantly coming out of that socket year after year, like you would have in a healthy tooth socket. But, yeah. Dinosaur teeth are interesting like that. They, in a lot of ways, they're not as diagnostic as mammal teeth. Maybe we can talk to Fisher about that. But teeth seem to be more important to mammals than they were to dinosaurs. More important, like they evolve more quickly in mammals than they do in dinosaurs. We could maybe talk to Fisher about that. Yeah. But yeah. And have you ever found a tooth that has been shed rather than part of a jaw? Absolutely, Captain Pugosh, all over the place. It's common to find. In fact, we found one here yesterday, I think. Right after I ended stream, we had what looked to me like an ornithischian dinosaur tooth. So either a ceratopsid or a hadrosaur. And I think we've got that bagged up already, or else I would show it to you. But, yeah, it is broken, so it was kind of difficult to identify. But there was sort of a big kind of concave facet on it that seems to me characteristic of like a duckbill dinosaur tooth, a hadrosaur tooth. So we've got those here from this site now. I think that's our first one, was yesterday right after we ended stream. Yeah. But good stuff. And are we finding new species at the site? We're not sure yet, Moxie Drinker, because nobody here is an expert on, like, Campanian, Maastrichtian microvertebrates. But, yeah, we'll have some experts take a look when these are back in the lab. A lot of this stuff is also really difficult to identify because it's not cleaned yet. You know, our goal here is to remove things from the rock as safely as possible. And so that often means leaving a lot of the rock surrounding it as we take it out. Only under controlled conditions in the lab will you remove that rock in order to be able to see the full shape of everything that we're getting here. Does that make sense? So, like, in order to protect, say, a fossil tooth that we find here, we might leave the rock surrounding it. And so you're not going to get to see all the detail on all sides. Yeah. And Payne Haynes says, didn't you find a croc tooth during stream yesterday? Yeah, Bennett did. Which is pretty darn cool. It's a really good looking croc tooth. You could see the that longitudinal fluting on it that's characteristic of crocs. And spinosaurs, too. But yeah. And Stedler and Waldorf, how are you doing? Hello. Yeah. And Starma wants to know, does the type of rock tell you why there's so many small fossils on this site? Yeah, we talked about that yesterday a bit. So, especially when Ray Rogers was here, we were taking a look at some of these strata, and it kind of tells a story. So down here, you've got swamp. So this is coal down here, and coal forms in swamps. That's why we're so dirty today. Look at all of this. Come back from the field into camp, and we look like coal miners. But yeah, coal. So this is a swampy environment there. Then we get these other layers of rock that represent changes in the environment. So we get kind of sand, we get kind of silty stuff, we get a shaly kind of mud, and it's in this layer up here that I would call kind of Fisher, would you call this like a shaly kind of mud?
It's like a mudstone.
Mudstone?
But yeah, it's fine-grained enough that I think you probably could call it a shale.
Nice, yeah. Yeah. So this represents kind of a quiet, maybe like kind of murky lake sort of environment. And in here, you've got all kinds of different critters, especially down there where Fisher and Bennett are working. Just all kinds of different organisms. Fishes, turtles, the remains of lizards. Bennett found a mammal tooth. All kinds of stuff like that. These critters that were living in this kind of quiet lake environment. And then you move up in section, up through these different layers, and then we can sort of watch the environment change. When we get up into there, and you get this nice like layer that's bearing all this plant material, which is really cool. So the chemical composition of these rocks is changing. It's kind of a different depositional environment, and it preserves different things. So, but we're lucky to have all of this here in the same spot. But yeah, and Ruiz Mario wants to know, have I ever been to the Hell Creek or the Morrison? Yes. I've done just a tiny bit of work in the Morrison, and I've done, I think, about 7 seasons in the Hell Creek. So I've spent a lot of time out there, up in Montana. Yeah, Garfield County, Valley County, a little bit in Macomb County. Lots and lots of Hell Creek field work. I found a lot of Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, Edmontosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus. Lots of Leptoceratops, believe it or not. Oh yeah. Yeah. My mom knows how hard it is to clean up coal dust. Yeah, Tolkien, Otaku, definitely. It's, it could be tricky. Yeah. But yeah. Love to come and volunteer in one of the labs. Yeah, Moxie Drinker. I mean, if you're in Pennsylvania, see about contacting the Carnegie Museum. If you've got the wherewithal to volunteer, that'd be really neat. Yeah. And Sloppy Salamander says Leptoceratops, underrated? Absolutely. Underrated, and we used to think it was rare in the Hell Creek Formation, but it turns out everybody was just looking in the wrong places. It's not a rare animal. It just prefers a particular kind of environment, it seems. And hopefully there'll be a paper about that coming out before too long. We had a really important site that Denver Fowler discovered in 2012, and we worked that in 2013 and 2014, collected literally like hundreds of baby Leptoceratops teeth. Seems to have been like a nursery for these animals. It's pretty neat. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. Good stuff. But yeah. And Moxie Drinker, Nick's not the person to tell. You should contact the folks at the Carnegie Museum and ask about volunteering. Yeah. See if you can get in contact with the lab manager there. I think his name's Dan. Ruiz. Oh, and Nerduino, how are you doing? Hello. I hope you're having a good day. It's good to see you. Welcome back to the field. And what's my favorite hadrosaurid? Asked the Ruiz Mario. Favorite hadrosaurid? It's a good question. I would say probably Edmontosaurus and or no, I don't know. maybe Probrachylophosaurus. A friend of mine dug that critter up and described it, published it, named it Probrachylophosaurus. Partly because, it hits close to home for me, and partly because it's really cool what it represents, where it's been interpreted as part of an anagenetic lineage. So it seems to be, according to the information we have, the ancestor of Brachylophosaurus, hence Probrachylophosaurus, before Brachylophosaurus. And that's really neat, like that maybe in a few places we can actually start to pick out which dinosaurs are the ancestors of which other ones. We can start to actually see evolution take place through the fossil record now that we have enough specimens and a good enough understanding of these rock sequences that they're in. We can start to line them up and basically it's a pretty neat idea. Yeah. But yeah, good stuff. And then Gamers Tavern show, duck-bill dinosaurs are not closely related to ducks at all. Ducks are a kind of bird, birds are a kind of theropod dinosaur. Duck-bill dinosaurs, hadrosaurs, are basically unrelated. Except in the sense that all birds are related to dinosaurs. But they're not particularly close to ducks, no. Yeah. And let's see. Starmy wants to know, is this the same type of build-up on the other sites unique to the turtle site? Yeah, so this coal here is not the same coal that we have at the Purple Puzzle Hadrosaur site. It's a different coal layer. But part of what Ray Rogers was doing yesterday, and part of what his students are doing today, is to try and map out all of these different rocks, put them in sequence so that we can kind of tell this geological story. Figure out what's going on in this environment. And also, if we start to identify some of these layers and we get to know them really well, we might be able to spot them in other places too, miles away, and we can thus correlate them in time. That might be a big ask right now, but once we start to map everything out and have complete stratigraphy, which particular beds are local and which actually extend throughout the basin. So this is, we're getting into like Sedstrat and that kind of thing, but it gets complicated. But those are really important things to figure out if you really want to understand what's going on in this environment. Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. And Diagonal, thank you so much for the 52 months of support. I really appreciate that. That's excellent. And your favorite hadrosaur is Lambeosaurus. It's a good one, Ruiz Mario. That's a classic. Namesake of the whole Lambeosaurine subfamily of hadrosaurs. Lambeosaurus is a good one. Named after Lawrence Lamb, who was a paleontologist, I think, from Canada, back in the early 20th century. It's named after him twice. If memory serves, at least. I think that's the case. And Moxie Drinker says, do you use a map of the site to decide where you want to search for a new dig site? Not necessarily. Mostly we just kind of walk around and we look for exposed rock that looks promising. So the Almond Formation, you will find it on geological maps, but if you want to actually find fossils, you got to go out and look, on the ground, searching. It's a very what the Japanese would call genshi genbutsu. Like, you have to go there and see it for yourself. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. And Payne Haynes, are there ever any cases where sites are torn up and end up miles apart due to earth movement? Absolutely, Payne Haynes. Yeah, for certain. In fact, they end up on different continents. There are exposures of rock throughout South America and Africa, and I think Australia too, that are all part of the same great big rock units, just like big geological members or groups rather, that have different geological formations in them, but they're consistent across those continents. And that was an early clue that the continents used to be joined up together into a massive supercontinent that today we call Pangea. You know, it's like, why are we finding the same kinds of rocks with the same fossils on different continents? And why is there this big wavy stripe that seems to go across all these continents even though they're separated by thousands of miles of water? It's because they all used to be stuck together. So that's one of the cool things about Earth history, is that things are constantly changing all the time. Nothing stays the same for very long. It's pretty wild to think about. It gives you a different perspective, you know? I like to say that, in a sense, paleontology, and geology for that matter, can be kind of like looking up at the stars and just feeling this uplifting sense of incredible smallness. You know, it's almost a freeing kind of feeling. It's like, look how small I am compared to the vastness of the universe. You could do the same thing with geology and paleontology. When you start thinking about the vastness of geological time, it's like everything kind of melts away and you're just kind of staring off into the vastness of Earth history. It's very humbling, and I don't know. Some people hate that idea. Some people are like offended and terrified of that, but people like me, it's a beautiful thing, you know? It's like you're kind of communing with the history of our planet. It's kind of transcendent in a way. Yeah, sense of wonder. Exactly, Golganek. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah. And Strenger says, are we drinking dinosaur pee? Probably not. I mean, you think about how much water is on planet Earth. You know, we are, in a sense, drinking the same water that dinosaurs drank, in the sense that, like, you know, water doesn't leave our planet, except on space missions. Yeah, so, but those individual, like, water molecules, you know, they'll get, you know, I'm pretty sure that they will get split apart and reconstituted and stuff like that, so, yeah, but, you know, dinosaurs were around for about 170 million years, give or take, and they certainly drank a lot of water, but I don't know if that would even be a drop in the bucket compared to how much water is on our planet, even over 170 million years. So, yeah, the number of water molecules that you drink, you could probably go your whole life maybe without consuming a water molecule that passed through the system of a dinosaur. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician or a hydrologist or anything like that. Yeah. Gamers Tavern Show says the combination of thinking in nanoseconds to thinking in millions or billions of years can mess with you sometimes. Yeah, but it's all part of the same scale, you know? You know, different ends of the spectrum. We're getting some wind here, so you can see we've got some rain clouds off there. And we're kind of in a lovely position because we're not getting rained on. And yet we still get to benefit from the shade and the coolness that brings. So this is really nice. I'm enjoying this right now. Gotta savor it. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. And Starmus says, will you write a paper on any of the material found on the site? We are kind of working on that, yeah. Good stuff. It's, well, last year, last November, at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology, we presented a poster on this site. Fisher was lead author on that. Maybe we could talk to him for a second. About how that went and everything. And then, yeah. Hang on, he's concentrating on closing up a bag right now, so we'll give him a second.
Oh, it's okay, I can multitask.
Okay. You can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah, we're just going to need a bigger bag for this.
Yeah. But yeah, somebody was asking if we're going to publish a paper on this particular site, and the answer is we're going to publish a bunch, probably.
Eventually.
Yeah, probably not this year, but you know, in the future, and there will be probably a lot of other people publishing on this too. It'll probably be like a multi-author sort of deal where some of us are authors on the paper, especially Fisher, And then we might have a turtle specialist, we might have a fish specialist, we might have people like that. Or maybe Fisher himself will learn everything there is to know about fossil ameids, fossil bowfins. And, yeah.
The biggest obstacle right now is just the fact that so much of it needs to get prepped.
Yeah.
Before we can really look into a lot of the more detailed anatomy that we're pulling out.
So when Fisher says prepped, it means like being cleaned in the laboratory and stabilized and kind of ready for study. And this stuff takes time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're only able to look at one side of the fossil here in the field.
Yeah.
And so before we can really give any detailed anatomical description that could help us determine taxonomy or even ecology, we need to be able to see the bone in its entirety.
Right.
And that takes a long time, especially given how just the quantity of fossils that we're collecting here.
Yeah.
And the delicate nature of them as well. I don't imagine these are easy to prep.
No, they're probably not. This requires somebody with a lot of experience. This is not something you'd give to like a new undergrad or a high school volunteer or somebody like that. This is delicate stuff. You need a professional for the most part. Yeah, and all of this material is going to Cincinnati?
I believe so.
Okay, nice. So yeah, I want to say they've got a pretty well set up prep lab there with a few different preparators.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Recently.
Yeah. You've been to Cincy though, right?
Yes. I
Yeah.
was at their collections last summer, but I know they moved,
Right.
they moved it since I was there.
Oh,
I
shoot.
don't know what their new setup is like.
Okay. Yeah, so again, like most of what we do in paleontology, this is a collaborative effort. It's a team sport. And hang on, we got a lizard right here. Hey, lizard friend, he's sitting there on the... Oh, he's zooming away. It was a couple years ago. We had a lizard friend who was just hanging out next to the quarry, and I could actually reach out and touch his tail, and he didn't even move. At least not right away. That was pretty cool. I think we have a clip of that. But, yeah. Uh-oh, here comes the sun again. Oh, boy. Well, the clouds were nice while they lasted. I'm doing better today, though, in the sense that Ethan, I asked him to pick up some chapstick in town, and look what I got. No longer have chapped lips, and that is big quality of life improvement for old Danny. Yeah. But yeah. Anyhow. Put some more of this on. I'll drink some water in a minute. But yeah, oh, here comes more clouds. Yes, yes. Love the cloud cover. That is a rare treat out here. So yeah. Anywho. Stormer says no case of sunstroke yet? No, of course not. I've never had sunstroke. I've never had heat exhaustion in the field. I do pretty well in the heat and the sun. Yeah. My dad would probably say we've got our Puerto Rican heritage to thank for that. May or may not be true. But, yeah. Good stuff. Anyhow. How's everybody's day going so far? And what are people up to as they're watching right now? I might sit down there and start digging in a little while, especially if we get more of this lovely shade. This is really nice. I'm enjoying this. But, yeah. Oh, you can hear some wind approaching. A little bit of a dust devil up there on the ridge. Yeah, you see it? Nice. A little bit of a desert gin. Yeah. Cool. That was neat. That was a noisy one. You could see it before, or you could hear it before you could see it. Yeah. And one very cool ruse, Mario. Spinosaurus skull sculpture. Very cool. Yeah. And neat. Good stuff. Anyway, let's get some water. And we'll go check in with the Turtle Hill boys again. See what else we got over there. I think we've got some new Melvius teeth this morning. We've got that big Melvius skull bone. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm missing with my my visual aids here. Is I should have done like a microvertebrate fossil assemblage. That would have been helpful, I think. There's a lovely illustration by Russell Hawley of a like Campanian age like microvertebrate fossil assemblage, just with all the different critters kind of swimming and walking around. Kind of a sample platter of what you get in Campanian age rocks, kind of like we have here. Yeah, maybe I'll get that for next year. I think that'll be good. But anyway, Melvius, this critter that you're going to hear its name a lot, this is a big old bowfin fish. These guys are still around in North America today. Amia calva, I think, might be the only living species of bowfin. But they go all the way back to the Cretaceous, maybe earlier. They might start off in the Jurassic. But they've been around a good while. Venerable old fish. And they're pretty neat. I'll show you a video when we get back home to California in about a month. Show you what they look like nowadays. Bowfin are pretty neat. Yeah. So anywho, let's get some water. Set these here. All right. Finish that water bottle. We'll sit down and do some digging. How does that sound? And thank you, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah, bowfin. Really cool fishes. They're pretty neat. Anything new over here, fish?
Not from me. Bennett got what I believe to be the posting for orbital out already.
You got it out already? Shoot.
It's got
Speed demon here.
a big old block right there.
I know it's just drawn.
Nice. Very nice.
But yeah.
Is that the underside?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Put a bunch of super glue on that.
Yep.
Nice. I really like coming to Turtle Hill because I don't have to be in charge here, like at all. You know, Fisher runs the show, and Bennett knows what he's doing. I can just kind of goof off a little bit and help out where I can. So it's a nice little like vacation almost. Love Turtle Hill. I don't have to boss people around. Don't have to tell the noobs, you know, you're using that tool wrong, or don't do this, don't do that. And thank you, MJ Builds, for those gift subs. Holy cow. Is that 10 of them right there? Really appreciate that, MJ Builds. Thanks for, yeah, thanks for keeping me here online with that support. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. There's 10 people who won't have to watch any ads for the whole next month. You know, we'll be in, shoot, I'll be back home in California, I think, the next time those lucky chatters have to watch a single ad on this channel. Good stuff.
Do you control what ads get shown?
I don't. Somebody was saying that there were ads for the Creation Museum appearing on the channel.
That's hilarious.
The other day, which is bonkers. Like, yeah. Why are they advertising on Twitch? I don't know. I mean, Twitch, get that bag, you know. But yeah, it's like, that's pretty funny. Yeah, and apparently it's in stuff like that too, but I don't think that's because I stream paleontology. I think it's just, that's kind of what's going around right now.
I mean, it might just be like algorithmic too.
Yeah.
People who like enjoy dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't know how they would determine that though, but
It's like search history and stuff.
yeah, cookies in your browser and that kind of thing. And Jazzy Cat says, yeah, I saw that ad. That's nuts. Yeah. Link for Real says, I have a sub to this channel and Turbo because I love it here. That's awesome, Link for Real. I also have Twitch Turbo. I consider that like a business expense. But with Turbo, I think you pay like $20 a month and you don't have to watch any ads on any channels. But I still subscribe to people that I want to support, so it's a good way to do it. It really is. And it's $11.99 in the US for Turbo? That's like nothing. Shoot. People don't talk about Turbo enough. There are rumors that Twitch was going to get rid of it. But, so, I don't know. Take advantage of it while you can. It's a good thing. Yeah. And Arvastra, thank you for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Thanks for supporting science outreach here on Twitch. Let's see. Nuggy Nabber wants to know what's getting dug up today. A whole bunch of little microvertebrates. And some semi-macro vertebrates too, like that Melvius. We've got fossil fishes, we've got fossil turtles. Have we had any turtle material today? I guess not.
Not today.
Yeah, so just all fish today?
Yeah. I think so.
Oops, all fish today. But yeah, this environment is like an ancient lake right here. Kind of this shaly. Yeah, this would have been a good place to. Well, I don't know if it was a good place to live as a fish. It was certainly a good place to die because a lot of them did that here. But yeah, and here I can show you. Pulling up some of this stuff. I've not been finding hardly anything over here, except just this organic-y rich matrix. So lots of little plant hash and maybe some. There's a tiny bit of amber in there. But yeah, I was talking with Fisher. Probably got to move a little bit deeper here before I actually find anything good.
If at all, yeah.
Which is fair, yeah.
The bed might just pinch out
Yeah.
to the east.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was mentioning a couple of times that given how sparse the area Danny's working is, we might end up opening up another shelf here.
That'd be really cool down there.
Our right.
Because I was working down there last year,
Yeah.
finding all kinds of cool stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, there were those jaws. Did that turn out to be a complete turtle skull? What was that?
I don't think so. I think it's just the jaws. But
Just
I
the jaws.
know that there was
Oh yeah, there was another thing with it. A lizard jaw or something?
Guamate, yeah.
Yeah, heck yes. Nice. Yeah, I think we did that on stream actually. Turtle jaw was jacketing that. Wonder what kind of turtle it'll turn out to be.
There's some thoughts of it belonging to the turtle shell that we pulled out the end of last year.
Oh, that would have been neat.
They were close and
Same critter.
reasonably, similar in size, but I think that's been discarded as an idea.
Really? They're just different.
Yeah. I don't know how much prep has been done on that turtle. I'm not saying the taxon name just yet because I don't know how important it is to keep it secret, but
Yeah.
it's reasonably significant for figuring out the faunal composition of the almond.
Does it start with a D?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool one. D. D's turts. Got him.
It's probably okay to mention it. We're talking about the other
Yeah.
Melvius and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I think we might have even talked about it on stream last
Did
year.
we? Okay. Well.
I think after Ethan was, I think he looked through the literature and talking about it. But yeah. Yeah, look at all this organic-y stuff in here. There's just so much of it. Yeah. But I've not been able to find a single identifiable bone in the past 2 days up here. Yeah.
April was working a little bit, and she was pulling out some things, but
Yeah.
definitely the quantity was lower than what we get over here.
Yeah.
And maybe it just has to do with the slanted nature of the bed, how
Mhm.
it dips up. It also just might be less rich over there.
Just been thinking about like how many mammal teeth could potentially be in each of these clumps that I throw into here.
I think about that every time.
Thank you, Victorious, for the 5 gift subs. I really appreciate that. Thanks for supporting Science Outreach here on Twitch. I appreciate that. I'm sure the gift recipients really appreciate it too. Yeah. And you're digging in the weeds. Apparently I am, Payne Haynes. Apparently I am. It gave me a bad fishing spot over here. But that's okay. I might only be here yesterday and today, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably go to a different site tomorrow if we got room. You guys will have to find a different way to get here.
No!
No more Prius Express.
There's plenty of time left in the season to come back.
That's true.
Losing chauffeurs.
Yeah, this is what, day 11 in the field.
Yes.
For anybody watching in the future on YouTube or whatever, this is Tuesday, June 10th, 2025.
It's going quite quick.
You feel like it is?
Yeah. Do you feel differently?
I feel like it's going at the pace that... I'm not surprised by how slow or fast it's going.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's going quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, am I leaving?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you're not staying the whole time.
No, I'll be done as well.
Yeah, shoot. So yeah, you've just got, what, 2 days left?
Yeah.
1 day left. 1 full day? After today? Yowza. Gonna miss you, Bennett.
I thought assemble new crew.
Yeah.
Geology work. I'm leaving.
Am I okay to put this matrix in this new bag?
Yeah, good.
Okay. So we're bagging up a lot of this stuff so we can bring it back to the laboratory, and some unfortunate soul can peer through a microscope at it for hours and hours and try and find something of interest in there, which there certainly will be. Could be more mammal teeth, lizard jaws, fish bones, stuff like that.
Very tedious work.
Yeah, but I don't know, with somebody puts on an audiobook or a podcast or a podcast. Yeah. Maybe they're listening to the Netflix.
Heard they're learning about mythology.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know. This stuff doesn't have to be tedious. You can do cool, important work looking for microfossils under the microscope, and I don't know. Be learning about whatever you want if you've got earbuds in. Some people can't do that though. They can't like concentrate and listen to something at the same time. I'm lucky that I'm not one of those people. I can do that.
Can you like write and listen to something at the same time?
No. Unless, like, I can listen to music if it doesn't have lyrics,
Yeah.
and then write, or I can listen to music with lyrics in a language I don't understand, and write at the same time, because it's like, it's all Greek to me.
Even in a language I don't understand, my mind gets hung up
Really?
on the words.
Huh. What kind of music do you like to listen to when you're writing?
When I'm writing?
Yeah.
I honestly usually don't listen to anything when I'm writing.
Really?
I can't focus on the writing for something. If I really want something,
Uh-huh.
I'll maybe throw on just like, some ambient or classic or something like
Yeah.
that.
I'll do classical or
Yeah.
movie soundtracks, oftentimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing other work, I'll generally just turn on whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I was doing that just a little while ago, and I put on the Master and Commander soundtrack, like we were talking about earlier. Oceans are now battlefields. Yeah. Somebody type that into the chat. What's the like title card at the beginning of Master and Commander? Yeah. Oh, and Ken, how are you doing, Ken? It's good to see you. Ken says trance or classical. Nice. Trance ukulele or classical? Why is that emote in there? Yeah. And Science Streams, Blint, I hope you're having a great day. It's good to see you too. Welcome back. Hope you and the family are all doing well. Yeah. Science Stream says, it was the master of times, it was the commander of times. There we go, Gamers Tavern Show. April 1805. Napoleon is master of Europe. Only the British fleet stands before him. Oceans are now battlefields. Isn't that great? What kids would call a meme of the like WWE wrestling commissioner guy. You've seen that one where like he's reacting and he's just getting more and more excited.
Yeah, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, each one of those. And yeah, oceans are no battlefields. He's like falling out of his chair. Yeah. But yeah. Literally found the quote on Know Your Meme, says Gamers Tavern Show. Oh yeah. You know what's up. Yeah. We were talking about which movies would be fun to watch in camp if we were to do that one night. Yeah. Oh, and just like the command there says, if anybody's not yet following Science Streams, my good friend Balint, and also Lita, and Baby Alona, and New Baby, I don't know his actual name, but his moniker on stream has been Buster Brown. Go follow Science Streams right now. Balint and Lita are both active research scientists. They, they do science, they publish, and they do wonderful science outreach. So if you're not following them, you are missing out. Especially if you're interested in science on Twitch. Yeah, give them a follow. Subscribe, too, while you're at it. Shoot. They could use the support. They do excellent work. Yeah. And Gamers Tavern Show says, do you guys ever break out those big inflatable projection screens when you're out in the middle of nowhere? No. We've got a simpler solution. You want to describe that, Bennett?
We got a really high-tech system that Danny set up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It involves a couple of big red boxes and one white table.
Yeah. So
and you put the projector on the boxes and project on the table.
Yep. So it's a big like white plastic folding table. I turn it on its side and I wedge it between some rocks, like on the cliff face, and we got ourselves a little projector screen. We were doing that for karaoke last night, which I'm kind of surprised at how enthusiastic everybody's been about karaoke.
That was really fun.
Yeah, nearly everyone went up to at least the first night.
I think everyone except Trin.
I did get Trin to go up last night.
No, Trin.
Oh, Trinidad, yeah.
I have a hard time.
Yeah.
Those names, but...
Yeah. And Nell says, how many little red cups do you all have with you on this trip? I think 0.
Little what?
The like red. Yeah, we're all about reusable plastic cups out here. It's a little bit more to dishwash them.
Sure.
We got to get our dishwashers going.
We're using a lot of paper. Plates and bowls.
Yeah, which is nice. We can just throw them into the campfire.
Yeah.
And we use a lot less water that way. Yeah. And Hershey Kisses says, Tren did karaoke? Yeah, Tren and I did ABBA's Money, 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 right? Yeah. Yeah. I asked Tren, like, what kind of... If you were to do a karaoke song, what would you want to do? He's like, I don't know if I want to. Like, let's do one. So we did a duet. We did Money, Money, Money. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Anyway, Hershey Kisses, welcome back. It's good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. And Moxie Drinker says you must have video of this or it didn't happen. Let me see if I can show you. I do have some video. Hopefully there's no swear words.
I only have video of Doug.
I think I've got video of Oh, of Jackson. Just doing some careless whisper there. He burned it down. We were all like taken aback. I didn't even get the best part. Jackson. Yeah. Oop. Yeah. I've got pictures of you with your ice cream cone.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna show that on stream.
Gone wrong.
Mukbang gone wrong. Oh boy. Yeah, we had ice cream cone, and just like 2 big buckets of ice cream, and it like immediately started melting. We had a bunch of leftover ice cream cones, and Fisher was determined to eat them.
Oh, you're not referring to the melty ice cream?
No, the ice cream cone that you had.
The ice cream cone is...
That Luke was sticking his fingers in.
It's also...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a little different. That's like the foie gras funnel.
I would say it's very comparable.
I would show that, but I don't want to embarrass you, Fisher.
It's fine. That was my nickname at Denver, was the little goose.
The little goose?
Because, yeah, they were trying to force feed me in the field. Well, they were actually legitimately doing it.
They're trying to fatten you up?
Yeah.
Can I show it?
Just go ahead. That doesn't matter. I have no shame.
Yeah. Here's Fisher. Was this yesterday morning? Morning before?
Yeah, it must have been yesterday.
Yeah. Ice cream cone. No ice cream in it. He's just eating the cone. And then Luke decided to stick his fingers in the cone. Things we get up to in the field, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Salamander says, I have my phone on speaker. The look on my customers' faces when the singing started. Yeah. I often wonder, like, how many people are watching the stream while at work. And yeah, if I can help make people's work days a little bit more tolerable, I'm really happy about that. Yeah. Oh, and someone named McDarmid D
hi.
says, Fisher's dad says, coming out of his shell.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
My dad's name starts with D, so I'm assuming that's him.
Yep. Hey, Fisher's dad. You'll be pleased to know Fisher is thriving out here, as he pretty much always does in the field. And he's leading this site. This is Fisher's site right here. We're following his orders. So, yeah. That's nice. It's nice for me not to have to be in charge of the site at all. But, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for Fisher to move out to California, too. You've already got at least one friend out there, so that'll be neat. I'm going to go take you to the Marine Mammal Center, whale watching. Have you seen the sea lions at Pier 39 in San Francisco?
I've seen the otarids somewhere.
Yeah.
On the California coast.
They've got these floating docks there at Pier 39, and there's sometimes like hundreds of sea lions just hanging out, barking. And...
I went there.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Yeah, it must have been the wrong time of year. Yeah.
I was like, bruh.
I think it's like during the winter. They might be off at their like breeding colony.
Makes sense.
Something like that. Yeah. Taken to the elephant seals at Año Nuevo. I've never actually been there, Lee Lemon. That sounds really cool, though. Yeah. And Ruiz Mario says, Danny, what's your favorite formation? I don't know. I've always been partial to the Hell Creek formation. But the Alderman formation's been growing on me, too. Yeah. The Cedar Mountain is really neat, also. It would be easier to say which geological formations I don't like very much. Whatever the one was in Fernley, Nevada, with all the stickleback fish, that's not my favorite. Yeah. But I've been lucky. I've been able to work at some really cool places. I also didn't like working in the Morrison that much, but I think that was just because it was only for a few afternoons, and we were digging up like a sauropod coracoid, and that was it. Something like that. Something from the shoulder girdle. I don't know if we actually got to identify it properly in the field, but yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and McDermott D says Fisher saw flattened baby seals at Elephant Seal Beach when he was like 4 years old. Flattened like they got crushed?
I don't even remember this.
Oh, that's probably a good thing you don't remember. That sounds really sad.
I've seen a lot of pinnipeds in my day.
Yeah? How many species do you think?
Let's see. I've seen California sea lion,
Xylophus californianus?
stellar sea lion, harbor seals. Maybe not that many species, but just on a number of occasions.
Yeah. I saw a baby elephant seal once at Aquatic Park in San Francisco. It was just like up on the beach, just looking really confused. And apparently the parents will just leave them there sometimes. But it's just like one very confused baby elephant seal just looking around. There's people walking by, and he's just like, hi. Heard somebody got bitten by a sea lion or a seal at Aquatic Park in San Francisco. It's like this kind of enclosed swimming area. There's like 2 piers that come around on either side, so they almost fully enclose it, but not quite. It's just got a little aperture where you can swim through from the bay. And yeah, so you get a lot of swimmers there. And they had signs saying like, yep, there's a sea lion here, he bites. Like, watch out for him. Yeah. But where I used to live in East Oakland, I was like 1 block from the tidal canal between Oakland and Alameda, and I would see harbor seals in there pretty often. I would see bat rays all the time. I even saw a few sea lions once, and that's so cool that, like, you know, a block away from where you live, there's marine mammals doing their thing. But that was pretty magical. I kind of miss living there, but I've got a really good gig now. I can't complain. That was a cool location. Sometimes I would take my kayak out there too. You ever go kayaking, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my home, my childhood home, we've got some river that runs along our property. So
That's in Athens?
just outside of it.
Nice.
But yeah, we go kayaking there on the really quiet tributaries and stuff.
Nice.
And snakes and ducks and all sorts of interesting animals, turtles.
Cool. What kind of turtles do you get out there?
Mostly soft shells, but sometimes snappers as well.
Trionychids? Nice.
And then on land we get the box turtles.
Yeah, cool.
It's pretty cool.
No leatherbacks. Shoot. Yeah. There you go, Lee Lemon, yeah. I don't know if I'd want to swim in Aquatic Park. Yeah. And Lee Lemon, Año Nuevo, is that up, is that like on the Marin Peninsula? Up by like Point Reyes? Because that sounds familiar. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to try and work pretty quickly through this layer here so I can get down into the fossiliferous stuff, hopefully. I like that we're collecting the matrix from this site. You know, it's one thing to just throw it all down the hill and hope that there was nothing important in there. It's nice that we can have the peace of mind that, like, hopefully someday somebody will look at this stuff and find cool things in it. Even if it does weigh a lot and take up a lot of space when we've got big bags full of rocks. big old slab here. Got anything? Slide plant hash and crud. You guys finding any like invertebrate shell fragments?
Not in the lower layer. In the upper layer we get a lot of mollusks.
I feel like I'm getting some of that in here, some of the reddish stuff.
Okay.
It's probably mollusk. Man, really nice day today. These clouds are wonderful. 5 stars.
Woodruff in there.
Yeah. I love reading reviews where people are like judging a place or something just based on stuff that's irrelevant.
Have you?
They'd be like, good ice cream, but I dropped my cone on the ground.
Yeah.
2 stars.
Have you like read like the reviews for national parks online?
I feel like we've talked about this before. What were they like?
They're just hilarious. Like you go on Google reviews.
Uh-huh.
Pull up like say Zion National Park or Grand Canyon National Park.
Uh-huh.
And go to like the 1 stars.
Uh-huh.
And they're just like absurd stories. Like I lost my pants off the edge of the Grand Canyon, 1 star. Or like I fell on a cactus, 1 star. Like they're just hilarious. All the 1 stars.
I forgot my insulin at home. 1 star.
Oh, watch out, Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. I saw these really good reviews one time. It was like, yeah, we went to this restaurant. It was really dumb because I don't know what, they had like crazy security there, and then the seats were all really cramped and we're all facing in like the same direction. And then like my ears kind of hurt, and like they only gave us the tiniest portions of food. It was awful. And then later when we got up to leave, we were in a different city. Like, I think it was called like Delta Restaurant or something. American Airlines. Oh. Pointy Zero says, can you volunteer to help at a dig site like this? Absolutely, yeah. We're full up this summer, obviously, but there are... You listen to that ASMR there, Fisher. Nice.
Scraping. Dentist ASMR. Say ah.
Now spit. Oh, man. Yeah, there are a bunch of different programs across the United States and around the world that could really use volunteers. Actually, all of us at this site, or all of us on this crew right now, there's about, what do you say, like 20, 25 people in camp?
Like 25 at this
Yeah,
point.
it's nuts. Biggest crew we've ever had.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's been consistently high numbers since we got here, you know? But yeah, all of us are volunteers. I suppose I'm the only one who's actually getting paid, and I'm getting paid through Twitch from all of you wonderful supporters. But yeah, there's a bunch of different programs that you can contact if you would like to actually volunteer on a paleontological dig, because they all run on volunteer labor. Nobody has enough money to pay everybody. That's just not how paleontology works. We're a kind of archetypically impoverished science. Even by science standards, we are underfunded. So, yeah, volunteer labor is how we get anything done at all in the field.
Volunteer work has a lot more to do with who you know and your network than
Exactly.
it has to do with demand for volunteers or your skill set.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got people on our crew this year who are just kind of, you know, like Ethan met them at school, they're friends of his, you know, people he's known from other places. There's a few people who have emailed in that may not have known anybody else. Like, I don't know, Trinidad, I know him from Berkeley, and he was asking about fieldwork opportunities. I'm like, hey, just go ahead and try emailing these guys. And now he's here on our crew. So, yeah. Pure Improv, thank you for this sub. I appreciate that. That Prime there. Thank you for keeping me here online. Good stuff.
I just felt rain.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh.
This guy seems
I think we'll be
relatively
okay.
clear.
I feel it too.
I don't want to pull a Terrence and...
Uh-oh, raindrop.
Terrence, if you're watching, we love you. But sometimes you're a little silly.
Neverwinterful says most places you have to pay to volunteer. We kind of had a thing like that last year. That might be a thing with some of the people who want to show up where it's like if you wouldn't mind contributing $10 a night for dinner or something like that, then we'd appreciate it. But yeah, anyway. Male Wife says, hey man, what's up? How are you doing, Male Wife? Welcome back. I feel like it's been a long time. How are things? Welcome to Turtle Hill here in southern Wyoming in the late Cretaceous Almond Formation. Not too many turtles yet, at least today, but lots of fish bones that Fisher and Bennett have been finding. Yeah. And Ruiz Mario wants to know, Danny, do you know if Tyrannosaurus Rex remains have been found in Arizona? I don't think they have been. There is Tyrannosaurus macraensis now, which may or may not be the same animal as T-Rex. But that, I believe, is from New Mexico, not Arizona. I don't know if there's a lot of late Cretaceous stuff in Arizona. When I think of Arizona, I think of Petrified Forest National Park. I think of Triassic stuff, yeah. And then early Jurassic, like Dilophosaurus. Sonorosaurus, yeah. Which a Sonorosaurus is... I forget if it's that or if it's Ceratosaurus. It's the big brachiosaur.
I think it's
Sonorosaurus? Okay. Ceratosaurus, I think, is the one that's contemporaneous with Dilophosaurus and like the Navajo sandstone. Yeah. Yeah.
Arizona's got some good Cenozoic material as well, especially from the latter parts of it.
Like Pleistocene?
Yeah, and Pliocene even.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Jim's
that's
got
where
that
those
one
ground sloth caves were from, right? With all the droppings?
Yep. Or at least there's
Yeah.
definitely like camels and horses and proboscideans that have all been found in Arizona.
Oh, and then I misread that. Ruiz Mario says, did you know that Tyrannosaurus Rex remains have been found in Arizona? Are you sure about that? That's news to me. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry you got smoke from forest fires. That's lousy, Chaotic Kitten. We've had that really bad in years past in the Bay Area, and that's no fun. Yeah.
We get the California smoke even down in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, Salt Lake is often really lousy for air pollution.
Oh man, in the winter?
Yeah. Get that inversion layer.
Horrendous.
Ugh. Yeah.
A couple quite smoky years in the bowl in the past.
Yeah, that's right, huh? We had, was it near Canyonlands or something the fires were? I forget. But yeah. At least you kept the temperature down a little bit. Moxie Drinker wants to know if we do these projects under, like, grant funding. And no. All of our funding for this is private, actually, which is really cool. We've had, well, I think it was 2 years ago, we here in this community, Paleontologizing, did a crowdfunding campaign and raised like $8,000, which was, I think, the majority of our funding in 2023. And then we've had individual donors who have stepped up since then, and we're incredibly grateful to them for their generosity. They make this work possible. While we try to be as frugal as we can be out here, and, you know, nobody's getting paid, so it's not like there's wages to worry about. Or or at least we don't have enough money to provide wages. That's probably a better way to put it. There are a lot of expenses associated with this kind of thing. You know, you got to pay for food, got to pay for fuel. Ethan gets a big rental truck that we can use for hauling specimens. We usually have like a U-Haul that we use for, which is like a big, like a moving truck that we use for transporting the specimens to the museum afterward. All this stuff costs money. And even though we try and spend as wisely and frugally as we can, you know, there's still a lot of expenses. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. But I don't know, on a crew like this, people provide their own tents. They usually provide their own travel for getting out here. Actually, everybody pretty much does. People buy their own boots, their own hiking gear, all of that stuff. Those are all personal belongings. And then we have a few communal tools and stuff like that, like these whisk brooms and these scoops and stuff. But some of the tools, like this right here, is mine from home. I've used this at, I don't know, a few different dig sites before. You know, all like this. You develop kind of a, you know, personal collection of tools after years of working in the field. You learn what you like and what you don't like and what you're good at using. And yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And Game Over Girl says, what's the lowest you would need for a small dig site? You mean like the amount of funding?
Gas money.
Yeah, I guess just money for gas and food. If you just have a few people out at a site for a few days.
Like if we were only doing Turtle Hill?
Yeah, we could do that real cheap, I guess.
Because we could camp out here.
Yeah. I don't know, when I was in the Hell Creek in, I think it was 2012. No, it was 2014. Our budget for the whole summer, food and fuel, for like 2 months of field work, it was like $900. We did get to kind of glom onto another camp from the University of Washington. So, you know, they gave us food and stuff like that. But there were other times that we were not with that crew. And I think it's about 2 months of work, and I think our budget was about $900. So, yeah. Hike the Earth says, please don't torture your volunteers feeding them MREs. We would never. MREs are expensive. You know, we would not be able to afford that. We're able to eat pretty well out here with, I don't know, food from the grocery store. You know, make macaroni and cheese, spaghetti, burgers, hot dogs, that kind of thing. Well, what's cool, actually, the three of us right now, we've got 3/4 of all the vegetarian population of camp right here in the quarry. So we've been eating a lot of Morningstar veggie burgers. Good stuff. Yeah. Anyhow. And Ruiz Mario in Arizona, Siskiyou Tyrannus was found. I thought Siskiyou Tyrannus was from New Mexico. That's one of Jim's taxa, right? I think it's from the Zuni Formation, I want to say. I'm pretty sure that's New Mexico, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Oh, hang on a sec. I'm getting a text from Lordy. What kind of camera is this? It's a Sony Action Cam, but what's the make and model? There we go. Nice. Yeah. Oh, and Ken says it's housed in Arizona from New Mexico. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. From the Moreno Hill Formation, is that right? New Mexico? Huh. Thanks, Ken. Cool. Actually is from Arizona? I'm confused now. What? Yeah. Right on the line. Oh, okay. Weird. I've got Siskiytyrannus at home. I've got a 3D print of that. It's the end of the snout, so you've got the premax and part of the maxilla and part of the dennary, like the tip of the dennary there with the little teeth. It's like this big. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it was Doug Wolf who found it? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, off topic. Yeah. And La Pieuvre says hi from France. Hello from Wyoming. From, from beautiful cosmopolitan Wyoming. One of the crown jewels of the United States. Hotbed of culture and art and literature.
And coal.
And coal. and sagebrush. And
very, very small bug bites.
Yeah, those sand fleas, just nuts. Have they been getting you too?
Yeah, and the weird thing is almost all my bites are below my sock line.
Yeah, so they're like just underneath the sock line, right?
Yeah, like right around.
Yeah, it's the same with me. Yeah.
I don't know why.
They
That's,
just
Doesn't make any sense.
they're not very tall, that's why. Sorry.
I had to wrap my brain around that one for a second.
You know, sand fleas, they're not the tallest fleas.
Can't reach
So
any
they can't reach any higher than that. But yeah, that's part of my routine every morning is like just putting some hydrocortisone cream on all the bites from the previous night.
This is the big one.
Yeah. But yeah, La Pieuvre says, I love Wyoming. It is a beautiful place. Yeah. We've got great fossils here. That's why we're here, you know? You know, we like to poke fun a little bit, but Wyoming is it's a very cool place.
I mean,
I'm going to get some more water. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry too much about that one, unless this is part of it.
No, those are separate.
Separate. Again, this is really fragmentary, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then this one. Oh, I just like this one. Yeah, wait. So have fun.
Yeah.
Back together, I guess. Or I guess I should, you know.
I mean, I can't.
And Doug's kid, Doug Wolf, published Zuni with Jim. Siski was depicted as a dromaeosaur in When Dinosaurs Roamed America. Yeah, yeah. Cool. I thought I had that right, Ken. Awesome.
Like unknown fish or something.
Nice. Nice.
Do you think I should wrap it with this or?
No.
Okay.
You guys got something? Or is that the,
It's the posting for orbital.
Yeah, can I take a look at it with the camera? I'd love to be able to see that close up. Here we go. Here's our find of the day so far. Check this out, chat. One of the biggest fossils I've seen from here. Biggest single element, at least. Big old fish bone. The head of a bowfin fish. So part of that shininess that you're seeing is the glue that we put on it, and part of it is just the actual sheen on the fossil. But very nice. I like the teardrop shape. Very cool, isn't it?
Thank you.
Good find. I'm not getting anything like that over here. This is just a garbage spot. The fish didn't even go to die. There's that sun again.
Cheers.
Yeah. I'm glad everybody likes that bone. Pretty neat. Yeah. And no, we're not going to auction that off like the Earth. I know you're joking, but these fossils are... The whole reason why we're digging them up is they're scientific specimens. You know, we can tell a lot about what this environment was like by the kinds of critters that we find in it. And fin fish could... There's a chance they could be a new species, you know? Fisher was talking yesterday about the 2 species of that genus Melvius that have been named, and ours might be different from both of them. Who knows? You know, we'll figure that out eventually.
Yeah, the specific taxonomy of Melvius is just a mess.
Yeah.
So I guess sorry for everyone who was here yesterday, but basically the gist of it is that we've got 2 species of Melvius. One is called Thomasi, which is found throughout western North America, primarily in the Maastrichtian, so the latest part of the Cretaceous.
So that's the one we get in the Hell Creek, for instance. Yeah.
And then there's also a second species that's been named called Melvius chaliotis, which is restricted to the San Juan Basin, which is in New Mexico, and is Campanian in age, which is the same age as this rock unit here, the Almond Formation.
Oh, we could be in the earliest Maastrichtian, though. We're not totally sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah. Point taken, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense if it were, you said Chalodius?
Yeah.
If it were M. Chalodius, but could be M. Thomasi, could be something new. It could be that M. Chalodius and M. Thomasi are actually the same critter.
Yeah, the problem is that the only osteological character that really distinguishes them is the texturing on that bone that it's wrapping now, the post-infraorbital.
Ooh.
And it's been found to be variable within those species. So sometimes Chaliotis will have the texturing and sometimes it won't, and that's what is supposed to distinguish it from Thomasi. And so it's not really a helpful character for determining species anymore.
Yeah.
And so now we're just left with geography, the temporal range, and size, which Chaliotis tends to trend larger than Thomasi. It's not always a great metric just because of how individuals vary, and almost no Melvius specimens are articulated anyway. There's like maybe there's one brain case from Chaliotis that exists that's articulated, and everything else is just like this, just individual elements, often in float, and most of them are usually just part of the vertebral column, which varies in size throughout it anyway.
So we're lucky that we've got a living species of bowfin that we can use as a model for all these guys, because otherwise... So yeah, that is one of the critters, obviously, that made it across the KPG boundary. They survived that big asteroid event at the end of the Cretaceous, and you know, their descendants are still around today, which is cool. If it weren't for that, we'd be in the dark about what this animal looked like. Yeah. And Zitrat says, is it typical that all the creatures you find in this section of rock live together at the same time? If they're found in the same layer, then we say that they're contemporaneous. Yeah. Yeah. So generally, you know, rocks take a long time to lay down. Well, not always, actually. That's not a good way to put it. How do I rephrase this? Rocks are laid down at specific times. So if you find something in one layer and that layer is contiguous, if there are 2 things found in that layer, rather, they lived at the same time, roughly. And when I say roughly, I mean like within, you know, centuries or whatever. It depends what the depositional rate is like. Sometimes you can get a whole ton of rock that's deposited really quickly all at once if you get like a regional flood or some sort of event like that. And sometimes it's just slow deposition over time, just like a little bit of silt settling down each day. And you might have a layer this thick that might represent 1,000 years or something. It depends on local conditions and all of that. Yeah. Yeah, and there you go, Ken. Yeah, lake deposits pretty consistent on deposition. Going to be pretty calm environments, you know, pretty uniform. But flood deposits are very distinct looking. They look much different from like lacustrine lake deposits. So again, that's why it's important to understand your sedimentology. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Cold Moon 23 says, never thought I'd see paleontology on Twitch, yet here we are. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, but this is the last thing I would expect to see here on Twitch. Well, expect or unexpect no more. It's here. Welcome to Paleontologizing. My name's Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I mostly work on dinosaurs. We're here at the Turtle Hill site in the late Cretaceous Almond Formation here in Wyoming. And well, I'm not really finding much here, but Fisher and Bennett are finding all kinds of awesome fish bones today, including a really important one that Bennett is currently wrapping up. So, yeah, good stuff. You know, when we're out doing field work in a place like this, it's not all about the dinosaurs. There are lots of other critters that lived in these environments too. And, yeah, we're trying to find whatever we can. Trying to piece together every bit of information that we can about what this ancient environment was like. Yeah. And Pate B says, I literally asked someone, is the channel actually about paleontology? Yeah. Yeah, this one definitely is. This is what I do. Hence, paleontologizing. It delivers what it promises, I hope. Here, I'm going to see if I can put a sun protector over that. Put this field scarf over my wireless encoder to try and keep the sun off. Let's see if that helps. You can hear the fan going. It's trying to cool itself down. Yeah. Yeah, but there are actually a number of different channels on Twitch now. I think this is the point that Claire is making with all those shout-outs. We've got a number of different paleontologists, and we've got a paleo artist and some fossil preparators here on Twitch. So the paleontological community is definitely growing. It's still small, just a handful of different channels, but we've got Joshua Canupe, PaleoStream, he's a German paleo artist. Dyson Dinosaur, that's Filippo Bertozzo, he is an Italian dinosaur paleontologist. Usually streams in Italian, but on weekends he does English language paleontology streams, which are really cool. He also does like, what are they called, tabletop games? Like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, and then we've also got fossil preparator, Steve Clausen from North Dakota. And he does fossil prep, like cleaning fossils in the lab. He does that on stream, which is really neat. So we've got a growing roster of paleontologists and paleo people here on this platform. Yeah. Yeah. Paleo is growing on Twitch, absolutely, Lenina. Yes, indeed. Yeah. We need more, I agree. So I submitted my abstract to the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting. I'm planning to go there to Birmingham this year. But my thing that I'm going to be presenting on, if it's accepted, fingers crossed, is about fieldwork live streams. You know, here's some tips and tricks for streaming live from the field. Here's why it's impactful outreach. Here's how you can do it. Here's how it all works. So I love being able to share this with my colleagues. You know, like this sort of outreach is attainable. You can do it too. You know, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure it out. I mean, look at me. If I can figure it out, you can too. Yeah. Casey says, hopefully you are able to do it and get more paleontologists interested in this kind of outreach. That's the plan. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. I also, just last night, got an email back from another paleontologist. I'm going to see if we can do an interview while I've got a long layover at a major American museum. No details yet, because nothing's nailed down. But, yeah, that'll be pretty cool if we can pull it off. I'm excited about that. That'll be July 2nd if it happens. Yeah. Cut a short from your Taco Bell endorsement and post. I don't know if it's good enough, Claire. If you want to, try it, but I might be a little embarrassed. I'm not sure. Yeah. And Dr. Tara, thoughts on feathered sauropods? It's an interesting idea. We don't have any direct evidence for it, but it's certainly possible. I don't think it's particularly likely. Sauropods were animals that they tend to get pretty large. Some sauropods are the largest animals to ever walk the earth. But they're I don't know, they would have generated a tremendous amount of heat, especially if they were warm-blooded. I think any kind of insulation would have been a hindrance more than anything else. Maybe they did have sparse feathering, but that's never shown up in any of the preserved remains that we have. We have skin from several different kinds of sauropod. I think from titanosaurs and also from diplodoctoids. And I think we might even have like baby titanosaur skin, like from titanosaur embryos in the eggs. We might actually have preserved skin from those too, which, you know, if those guys didn't have like a downy covering, then it's hard to imagine the adults having anything like that. But who knows, you know? Yeah. But yeah, and Pate B, yes indeed, sauropod means lizard foot or reptile foot. Yeah. So Jurassic World is being super speculative? Yeah, Dr. Tara, I guess. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to see that when it comes out, huh? Yeah, we'll probably have to do a discussion stream about that. And Pointy Zero wants to know, were there any Arctic dinosaurs? There were. We do have dinosaurs from in the Arctic Circle. From up like the North Slope of Alaska, which I think during the Cretaceous period was even higher north than it is today. Would have been warmer up there than it is today, but you still would have had ice and snow. So there were dinosaurs that lived in cold climates too. We've got dinosaur fossils from Antarctica as well, which Antarctica during the Mesozoic was a little bit further north than it is today. Would have been warmer, but still, you would have had, you know, polar darkness for a good part of the year. And you probably would have had ice and snow there as well. So, yeah. But this old idea of dinosaurs only living in tropical climates, them basically being oversized lizards, that's nonsense. You know, we've got evidence that many, if not most, if not all dinosaurs were warm-blooded. Pretty active animals, and lived in all kinds of different climates. In fact, there's an idea that that like a cold snap during the Triassic period may have been what kind of allowed dinosaurs to gain an upper hand over competing groups of reptiles at the time, and allowed them to kind of take over. You know, if dinosaurs did have metabolisms, and a lot of them had integumentars and stuff like that for insulation, that may have been what helped them win out over their competitors. But it's still pretty speculative at this point, you know. There's a lot of debate about this kind of thing. Yeah. And digs actually happened in Antarctica? Absolutely, Pate B. We were just talking about this yesterday. I would love the chance to go to Antarctica to excavate fossils. All three of us here would. And Matt... Is Matt taking off today or tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Shoot.
I know Mandy wants to be here tomorrow, so we can't.
Okay, gotcha. That'd be cool to have her here. Looking at some fossil plants and stuff. Yeah, Matt Lamana has done a lot of field work in Antarctica, digging up dinosaurs. And I think they're actually publishing more material on Emperobatar, which is that was in Prehistoric Planet as well, but they depict it as like almost a, you know, Dromaeosaurus type dromaeosaur. It was probably what he would call an Unenlahine, like Unenlahia, this really slender snouted, spindly, more gracile kind of dromaeosaur. We covered this before I left for the field. We talked about that new paper saying, nope, this guy's actually an Unulahin. And I said, well, shoot, we heard this from Matt Lamana last summer. So you guys had the info on this like a year in advance, which is pretty neat. But anyway, yeah, that's another dinosaur from Antarctica, and there's a growing roster of them. Yeah.
Grasshopper? How do you say that word?
That's how I say it, yeah. Yeah, well, what do you say?
I've never heard it said.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was gracile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Little Richard song? Gracile.
Exactly.
Oh, Gracile, why can't you be true? That is Little Richard, right? Yeah, okay. I'm not embarrassing myself here. No, that's Lucille, chat. But yeah, gracile or gracile is how most people will say it. One of the two ways. I feel like not gracile, I don't think.
That's really funny.
Yeah, very slender and gracile.
Yeah, it's the first time I ever heard it out loud.
Yeah. Excuse me. And do we think dinosaurs hibernated? Asked Big Boy Draws. I don't know if we have direct evidence of that. It's been suggested for polar dinosaurs. But the way that you would test that is to do some histology. Cut open those limb bones, look at the growth rings inside, and if they're very clearly not growing at all whatsoever during part of the year, that might be associated with hibernation, or estivation, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we don't have a lot of evidence for that, I don't think. I want to say that early on, some researchers claimed that some of the South Australian dinosaurs, like Lialanosaura, these little ornithopods, that they hibernated. And you see that in programs like Walking with Dinosaurs. But I think that was based on kind of bad histology. Because I don't remember Holly Woodward talking about that in her thesis talk. She studied those animals for her PhD, did histo on them, and she's like, no, I don't think there's evidence of that. These guys were active year-round, I think.
Are there any birds that hibernate? I can't think of a single example.
I can't think of any birds that hibernate either, yeah. It's more of a mammal thing.
Yeah.
Mammal
I wonder if it just has to do with like metabolic
and reptiles.
function.
Hibernating birds. I can't think of a single one.
No, can't think of any.
They're all active during the winter,
Migratory or
during lean times, or they migrate. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's something that wouldn't readily evolve in birds because it's so easy for them to travel long distances.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, bats hibernate.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess bats don't have avian respiration.
Right.
To go
They're
for-
far less efficient flyers than
Yes.
birds are.
They're heavier and
Yeah. They can't fly nearly as far or as high. Yeah, it sucks being a mammal, Yeah. And Lilith Verton, I'm glad you like the background. It is pretty out here. Wish it weren't quite as sunny. But that's okay. And Funny Bunny says, are bats mammals as well? Absolutely, yeah.
In the order Chiraptor.
Related to rodents?
Nope.
not
Related to carnivorans, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the same super order.
Which is, and then Pholidota, the pangolins are kind of nearby, right?
So the way I understand it is
Yeah.
they are all part of this really big group of mammals called the Laurasia mammals of continent of Laurasia, which
Yeah.
encompasses Eurasia and North America.
Mhm.
And so this group is the insectus moles and hedgehogs.
Mhm.
Those are thought to be the basal group, the one that's least close to all the others. Next is bats, and then you have your ungulates and carnivorans.
Gotcha, okay. So bats, their closest living relatives, if we're going to use that phraseology, would be insectivores, things like hedgehogs and stuff like that?
Ungulates and carnivorans.
Ungulates and carnivorans. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the pangolin is also in there, close to the carnivorans.
Right.
Creodonts are close to the carnivorans.
A now extinct group, the
There's
creodonts.
a bunch of other groups in there, like the mesonychids that might be close to ungulates.
Huh. Cool. We were talking about mesonychids yesterday. What a weird group. Yeah. Anyhow, good stuff. If anybody's got mammal questions, Fisher is your guy. Yeah. And Renfield says, when penguins huddle in those big circles, that's the closest to hibernation in birds that I could think of. Yeah. Or maybe torpor, like what hummingbirds do.
Yeah.
But they do that on the daily.
Daily, yeah.
Yeah, they'll do that at night. They kind of, they slow their metabolism down to a crawl, but, it's very temporary. It'll be for like 8 hours or something like that. I think chickadees might do something similar.
I wonder if it's just that birds can't build enough fat reserves to make it through that long of a period.
That would actually make a lot of sense, yeah.
Big
Like,
problem.
flight would be a big constraint for them.
But I guess you don't have to fly if you're hibernating.
True. But being able to, like, build up enough fat, that would take weeks or months, I would imagine.
Sure, and the energy expenditure of gathering all that food while also flying around.
Yeah. But what about bats? Do bats have fat reserves?
I think so.
Huh.
But I know they also go into torpor in the winter.
Hmm.
You can go into a cave in the winter and find bats with frost all over them.
Find bats getting their heads pecked open by great tits, which is the name of a bird. But those birds have been known to like predate upon sleeping bats, just like peck their heads open and eat them.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a big bat colony that lives west of Tucson.
Oh, neat. Huh. Yeah, we've got some in California, actually near where you're going to live, Fisher. In the Central Valley, there's, I think it might be like along the causeway going into Sacramento. There's this, like elevated highway, and then underneath that, there's just tons and tons and tons of bats that live there. And I'm pretty sure that they were built or at least remodeled in such a way to make more habitat for the bats. Nice. So there's like basically like a ventral canal in the concrete running underneath the highway. Yeah. And so there's just thousands of bats who live there. It's our, I think it's the California state bat. I forget what it's called. Somebody can look it up. But they're cool. Yeah. And...
Fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
Bats? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they have such an uncanny way of flying, too. It's like... I almost feel like they don't belong in the air. They just kind of like...
Yeah, they feel very frantic.
They do, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Just fighting gravity the whole time.
Heavy mammal,
Yep. Don't have that avian respiratory system, nor do they have those pneumatic diverticula, yeah. Oivinator says, if I were to go dig in my local beach, how can I tell how old the layer is I'm in? You look at your geological maps. Most of the time beaches are going to be, if you're talking about like the actual sand, then that's all going to be recent stuff. Like sand is all like eroded material. But if you're talking about like rock outcrop along the beach, look at some geological maps. The U.S. Geological Survey, if you live in the U.S., or your home country's geological survey, they might have freely available maps online. So you can look up where you live or where you're going to be vacationing or whatever. And yeah, there might be lovely color-coded geological maps that you can look at so you know how old those rocks are, where you'll be. But yeah. Yeah. Hope that makes sense. Payne Haynes says, can't crocs go into some sort of hibernating state? They do, yeah. Some of them do. Like the Chinese alligator, I think, is famous for this.
The American alligator as well.
American alligator, too? Yeah. Yeah, so they can... I don't know if it's called torpor or hibernation, or estivation. Estivation, I feel like, is kind of a broader term that kind of encompasses a lot of stuff.
I believe estivation is almost identical to hibernation, but specifically it's
For drought?
for reptiles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think brumation is the term for.
That is for alligators, yeah, brumation. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe it's the other way around,
Yeah.
where brumation is for non-mammals.
Yeah.
Hibernation is a specifically mammalian term, and then estivation, I think, is during times of high temperature.
That makes sense.
Water scarcity.
Yeah, drought, yeah. Yeah, so brumation is something that alligators do. Tony Martin talks about this in his book, The Evolution Underground. It's all about burrowing creatures. I think you might like that book a lot, Chad. It's pretty good. I've recommended it before. But, yeah, that's, I think, one of the largest burrowing reptiles nowadays is Alligator mississippiensis, the American alligator. Yeah. Oh, and the pallid bat. Thank you, everybody. Pallid bat is the bat of California. Yeah. Yeah. And McDermott D says ducks and geese have large fat reserves for insulation. They do, don't they? As Fisher learned in the field when they were trying to fatten him up. They called you the little goose?
Yeah.
The little goose or just little goose?
Both.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I happened to have a hoodie with the goose on it
Oh.
that I was wearing at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of just all worked out.
I like that. Have I seen that one?
Yes, it's the one I have here in the field.
Gotcha, the gray one. Yeah. Yeah.
In waterfowl, the fat has to do a lot with buoyancy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. If you're a duck or another kind of waterfowl, you want to be buoyant.
Birds are relying on their feathers for heat,
Mhm.
but you can't use feathers for fuel. While you're
Right, yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Mizart Rule says, how are the pack rats doing? You know, we haven't seen them today. The rat pack of pack rats, they've flown the coop. They're not here anymore. At least they weren't here. Although they were chewing on the blanket last night, weren't they?
Yeah, we've got some holes in our packing blankets that we're using for cushioning
Shoot.
both our bodies and our fossils. But,
Yeah.
You know, I think that's just kind of a sacrifice we're going to have to be willing to make.
Sounds like a book from the 60s. Our bodies are fossils. Our bodies ourselves are fossils. Yeah. Cinderella says, gosh, you mean they were trying to do pate with him? That's dark. You know, that's how it goes for us vegetarians in the field. The meat eaters are just like, just staring at us and licking their lips. You know, it never stops. That's why we got to stick together, we three here. Yeah. Starmy says, did bats evolve their own solution to the breathing problem and weight? Kind of, to the extent that mammals can. They don't, you know, birds got really lucky in the sense that they evolved from dinosaur ancestors who already had hollow bones. They already had kind of an avian-style respiratory system. They already had a whole bunch of other anatomical, morphological adaptations like that. So birds, you know, they inherited a lot of the features that they would later co-opt for flight. You know, they're kind of starting life off on third base and they think they've hit a home run. Birds got really lucky. Bats, not so much, you know?
Birds are new money. Or sorry, birds are old money and bats are new money when it comes to flight.
I like that a lot, yeah. Yeah, so bats had to develop flight the difficult way from a mammal body plan. So they don't have that nice avian respiratory system that's super efficient. They don't have the same kind of like hollow bones. They don't have things like a wishbone to anchor their flight muscles to. They don't have feathers that, you know, birds inherited feathers from their dinosaur ancestors. You know, bats, they had it tough, you know. And it's kind of a big handicap, I guess, having a mammal ancestor trying to fly. But
All the more impressive that they managed to pull it off.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah. Or we could look at them and go, they don't belong there, you know. Oh, these bats, their newfound flight, how naive. Those new money bats that are so crass.
Why does the great Batsby yearn for the green light?
Because that's where the moths are. Yeah.
I guess Batsby.
Somehow that's the second time today that book has come up.
Mentioned, yeah.
Callback, yeah. Yeah. Anywho, Ars Animus says fruit bats have a leg up, it seems, over bug-eating bats, getting all that natural sugar. Yeah, that is nice, and that might be why they. Well, I guess they're bigger because fruit is very nutritious, energy dense, but also they don't have to be fast like microbats in order to catch prey.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Alexander Morrison says bats started from the bottom, now we're here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
They are the second most specious order of mammals after rodents.
After rodents, yeah.
So, yeah, they're
It's like rodents are
quite well for themselves.
1/3 of all mammal
Something
species,
like
and bats
that,
are
yeah.
like they're like 1/4,
Yeah.
something like that. Because there's what, like 5,000 mammal species, give or take. Is it 4 or 5,000?
I'm not sure.
I want to say it's like 5,000. I think
that many.
I think rodents are 2,000 species.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Or something like that, and then bats are like 1,000 species. So it's like 20% of all mammal species are bats. And yeah, I think it's like 30% are rodents or something. Whatever that is. Yeah. Rodents and bats together are 2/5 of all mammals. That's nuts, Charlie's Dragon, yeah. Yeah, so many bats, Casey Snort, exactly, yeah. And why are they so speciose? I guess it's that they're small. They can live in, like small pockets of habitat. They can allopatrically speciate really easily. They can move to new habitats. They can end up on islands and get reproductively isolated. And you can have a ton of bats in a small area. It's not like elephants where it's like, okay, this 10-mile square area can support a couple elephants. With bats, it's like you can just pack them in there. So you can have a lot of them. Yeah. And they specialize quite a bit too, I think, says Casey Snort. Yeah. A lot of them are pollinators, so a lot of them are like they pretty much only eat, a few insects or like nectar from a specific kind of plant or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And there might be something too with like mutation rate in bats. I know they like rodents, they reproduce pretty early on in ontogeny, right? Mm-hmm. So they've got short generational times, so you can have a lot of evolution pretty quickly. You might have, 10 generations of bats in 10 years, whereas an elephant, it might have one baby every 3 years or something like that.
It's 14 years to reach sexual maturity.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So with bats,
And
they're probably like
each
rodents.
pregnancy is like 2 years long. And
Yeah.
2 years.
I think it's like, like 22 months or something like that. Bonkers. I think that's longer than most whales. I want to say elephants have got the longest gestation period for a mammal, but I'm not 1,000% sure.
I wonder if that has something to do with brain size proportionally to
Could
the body.
be, yeah.
But then again, you think dolphins would have a really long gestation period, which I don't.
I think it's pretty long.
I don't know.
I want to say it's longer than humans for dolphins.
They are bigger animals on average, so.
Let's see. Wikipedia. Mammal.
List of mammals by gestation is a Wikipedia page.
List of mammalian gestation durations. There we go. Yeah, that's what we want. Wait, where's the list? There we go. It's in mobile, so you gotta open it up. This is number of days. Oh, and it just keeps... Oh, it's not in order. Shoot.
Oh, is it sorted by taxonomy?
Yeah, Bactrian camels, 390 days. It's in alphabetical order by common name, which is a dumb way to organize it. 670 days for African bush elephant. Again, number of days on average. 396 days for manatee. I guess it makes sense. Yeah.
Tethetheres and their long pregnancies.
Yep. This is a running joke that I used to do on Ios's channel. Oh, sperm whale, 535 days.
Okay.
That's, I think,
Still shorter
shorter than the elephant, yeah. Huh. But yeah, and when I would resubscribe, I'd be like, wow, I've been subscribed long enough to have gestated a West Indian manatee. I thought it was, if not funny, at least amusing. But I would look at that chart and just come up with which mammal matched, and then I was subscribed for so long that there's no mammal that has a gestation period that long. That we know of. Could be that beaked whales are like, oh yeah, it's 50 years or something. But no. I'm sure we could tell with histology. If anybody's done that. Yeah. And Lenina, good for you, says, I went to a baby shower and they had a game where we had to match the animal to the gestation period. I was the only one who got every single one right. That's awesome, Lenina. Very cool. Yeah. And Starma says, did bats evolve from mammals with freaky long fingers, like eye-looking animals? Or how did that happen? Still kind of...
I don't know what the ancestor of bats look like. We just find them showing up as bats in the fossil record.
Yeah.
Scene.
So there's a chance they could extend into the Mesozoic.
It's possible, yeah. Or
Yeah.
at least Chiroptera as an order is a...
Particular clocks show that they probably split off like right after the KPG.
Okay.
So like you've got a huge adaptive radiation going on then, and it would make sense that you would just have really rapid evolution right at the beginning of the Paleocene. Or maybe middle Paleocene, I don't know. Things take a while to recover and spread out across the globe again after that asteroid. I've heard some people say that it could be that all the mammals went extinct in North America when the asteroid hit. It's like we don't know whether critters just came across the land bridge from Asia on the other side of the planet or something. Like they could have just been really bad for mammals. Because it's something like 90% of all mammals died out at
Yeah,
the KPG.
it's a large amount. I hadn't worked in like the first million years post KPG.
Yeah, when you were in Colorado.
In the Denver Formation, and we already get like relatively large mammals.
Uh-huh.
So
That's after you get those beans showing up,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
The legumes.
But yeah, there are mammals that occur that are pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of the multitorculate group. Mesodma is a good example. Within, like before even forests have recovered.
Uh-huh.
So I think there's definitely mammals that survived in North America
You think so?
across the boundary. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of influence from Eurasia coming in. It's all kind of mysterious still. We're still looking for the common ancestor of a lot of those early Cenozoic groups, like the condylarths or the
Right.
proto-ungulates, as they're often called. or
Is that
sometimes
still
called.
a monophyletic group,
No,
Condylarthra?
absolutely not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kinda- It encompasses like, I don't know, like 4 orders or something.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
don't know if they're orders. There's 4 different clades of strange early Paleogene mammals.
Uh-huh.
The mesonychids are an example from earlier.
Yeah, weird group.
Condylarths, but we're not sure where they come from and we're not sure where they belong.
Hmm.
But they show up quite quickly.
Huh.
So already, wolf-sized mesonychids running around North America within a million years of the impact.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Shoot, I thought it took like 5 million years for anything to get bigger than like a possum.
No, those are pretty big mammals.
Wow.
That was one of my primary projects at Denver, was to do the CT segmentation on a mesonychid skull.
Shoot. Yeah. And this is where Fisher brought me that that piece of a palm from the Denver Formation, which I have in my office. That was really cool, Fisher. Thank you again for that. That's pretty neat. From 65 million years ago?
Yeah.
Nice.
65 point something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So right after. Shoot. Did you get to see, well, you wouldn't get to see the fern spike. I think that's all microscopic.
Yeah.
But did you see the rock layers where that's supposed to come from?
We were mostly working, I think, in the Puercan 2 and 3 beds, which are
Okay. This is around like Corral Bluffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the research area.
Nice.
And it spans the Puercan
The
and
Puercan.
Mammal Age.
Man, I don't like that name, Puercan, because when I was in Berkeley, in high school, volunteering at the museum there, you know, I'd be going through all of the like Hell Creek drawers, just looking for cool dinosaur stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd spend like several hours there every morning, and I learned pretty quickly that you look in the Puercan drawers and there's no dinosaurs.
A bunch of turtles.
Yeah. What's interesting is they don't call that the Fort Union, at least not in the collections. They call it the Hell Creek, but it's like a Puercan unit in the Hell Creek. So it'd be just after the impact, I guess. Around like Bug Creek Anthills in, I think, Garfield County, Montana.
Purgatorius.
Yeah.
The Plesiadapiform is from the Hell Creek, but it's from the Paleocene.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
from the very, very upper part of the Hell Creek.
So they probably existed, you know, during the Mesozoic, but they just haven't been found yet.
Yeah. No, we're,
They may have been very rare and
still on the hunt for the
and furtive.
Mesozoic condylarths,
yeah.
but they're almost certainly out there.
That sounds like a cool TV show. The Hunt for the Mesozoic Condylarths.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a mystery for a while.
Fisher with his sun helmet and a big Winchester rifle.
That's what Tyler Leeson wants from me.
Yeah, he wants you to hunt some Mesozoic condylarths.
Yeah.
Here? Shoot, we should start digging. Oh, and hang on, we got a big raid about that. GN Marley, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Sorry that was a minute there. But welcome, welcome. We're here in beautiful western Wyoming, digging up fossils. This is not really much of a dinosaur day. We're finding smaller critters here in these rocks. This locality is called Turtle Hill, and you'll never guess what we find at Turtle Hill. Fish. We've got a bunch of fossil fishes. We had turtles yesterday, but today's been a fish-filled day, at least for these two guys. I haven't found squat in here, but I might be a little bit too high in section, or it might be that this is just, you know, dry as far as fishing holes go. But Gian Marley says, I love dino hunting, much love. I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing all your viewers in. Let me know if you've got any questions. All three of us are people in paleo. So yeah, if you've got questions about paleontology, we'll do our best to answer them for you. Yeah. Anywho. And we are digging up fossils all summer here, exactly. Well, not here, but on this channel, yes. I'm going to be digging here in Wyoming at various different sites until June 30th, or thereabouts. I think June 30th is when we leave, actually.
Yeah.
So the 29th would be the last day. And this year, Fisher's with us until the very end, which is awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Ontogeny.
And yeah, then from mid-July to mid-August, I'll be in Utah, kind of near the town of Moab, digging in the earliest Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation. And then I might be going back to that as well, which would be really cool. Work with Josh Lively out there. So yeah, and we got a double raid. Well. 38 raiders from Captain Rob's Adventures. Welcome, Rob and his adventurers, to beautiful western Wyoming. We're digging up fossils here, and we're eager to answer your questions if you've got any. I hope you had an excellent stream. Looks like you were doing some IRL as well. Very cool. Nice. And hiya to you too, Captain Rob. Good to have you. Yeah. Oh, and Starmy says, can you spell the name of those early mammals past the KPG? Can't seem to get that right. The
Condylarths, so it's
C-O-N-D-Y-L-A-R-T-H. Condylarth, yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's not really a taxonomic term anymore. It's kind of just like a wastebasket group for a bunch of the weirdos that show up that are hard to fit into the mammal family.
Weird things. We're going to throw them in the Condylarth basket for now.
Like stuff like the Periptychids and the Mesonychids and stuff like that.
Yeah. Call Me Trash says, do you think people will be digging us up in 65 million years?
Depends on where we die.
And I don't know about people, but yeah, 65 million years. It's a long time. Yeah. In order to become a fossil, if we were back in my office right now, I'd play you that video. Here's a step-by-step guide on becoming a fossil. Step 1, die. Step 2, get buried fast. In order to become a fossil, you have to be buried in an environment where you're likely to get fossilized. So in a depositional environment, nowadays a good place would be like, I don't know, a river floodplain.
New Orleans or something.
Yeah, New Orleans. Yeah, exactly. Mississippi Delta, a place like that where you've got, water carrying a lot of sediment and then just burying stuff. A terrible place to become a fossil would be like the side of a mountain or, maybe the top of a sand dune or a forest. Yeah, a rainforest floor. Oh boy, everything rots there. You're not going to become a fossil there, most likely. Unless it happens to be, if you're in in the middle of the Amazon River, in a depositional basin, then I guess you could become a fossil, but not on the forest floor. Yeah. And Pate B says they'll find Coke cans and bones and buildings, and they'll learn from our mistakes. Hopefully.
We'll certainly find our plastic.
Yeah. There's a book about this that I started reading and haven't finished yet. Got distracted by other books. But it's called Footprints by David something. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely forget that name. No. And it's the subtitle is In Search of Future Fossils. So it's kind of trying to look at human society and the things that we've built in the context of what might be here in 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, etc. And it's interesting. It's thought-provoking. Yeah. David Ferrier. Thank you, Lenina. That's the one. Yes. Good stuff. I don't think I brought that with me. I should have brought it out here so I could finish it. But there's not been much opportunity for reading.
Yeah, it's hard. I've gotten about 60 pages.
60 pages? Jeez, yeah.
I mean, that's still pretty impressive.
I think I'm about 50 pages into my Leatherback Turtles book, which is creatively titled Leatherback Turtles. But it's good. It's the book on Leatherback Turtles. Yeah. Fisher, what are you thinking of Spying on Whales so far
I'm enjoying it.
by Nick Pineson?
I like it. I think some of it falls into the trap of a lot of pop science books where it's a little bit highfalutin at times.
Yeah, it tries to be a little bit too poetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is super, important and amazing. And it is, but it,
I mean, I like that stuff sometimes, but I understand that you don't.
It takes away from it a little bit when, you overemphasize it.
You're like, just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish that some of the paleo sections had more to do with the some of the weirder whales that show up later in the Cenozoic. So everyone likes to talk about the origin of whales, of Pakicetus and Ambulocetus and Cuchicitus and Remingtoncetus and all these
Myocetus.
all these fun, weird archaeocetes, and then getting into Basilosaurus and Durodon and stuff like that. But some of the whales that I find the most interesting in the fossil record are the ones that show up after you get the emergence of the two modern groups, the Adonocete and the Mysticetes, and how those groups kind of experimented, in the Miocene and Oligocene and Pliocene. There's some really fun guys. I think Urinodelphus, the swordfish dolphin, is a good example. But,
Semirostrum with the super long, stupid chin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's some of that talking about Cerobalena. In South America.
Oh yeah,
It's all the Mysticete whales.
Yeah.
There's passing mentions of Leviathan, the giant macroraptorial sperm whale.
Does he talk about that in there?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's from
similar. I don't remember that part.
Similar parts of the world.
I think the parts of that book, because I read this back in 2018. It was the first book I read when I came back to California. I think Nick Pineson sent a review copy to the Museum of Paleontology at Berkeley. And so Chris at the front desk is like, "Here, Danny, read this." Okay, cool. I think I read the first half and then I got the audiobook. I'm like, yeah.
But But overall, it's quite good. I wish, as a paleontologist, I wish
Yeah.
there was more on the paleo. But I understand that he really wants to get into the modern
Yeah.
ecology and anatomy of the whales, and then their hopes for the future.
Yep.
Right.
It's not really a book for us necessarily. It's for the general public, but
Sure.
yeah, the parts that really stuck with me were Cerro Ballena, the fossil site in Peru, was it? Or Chile?
Yeah, I think it's in Chile. 'cause
I think it's in Chile,
Peru is the Pisco Formation, which
Yeah.
is where a lot of really cool Miocene whales are from, like Leviathan, the giant sperm whale.
Oh, that's from.
It's from Peru, yeah.
Cool. Oh, yeah, that's right. But is it from the same formation though? I don't know.
Let's see.
I'm quizzing you.
I think
Actually.
Cerro Ballena is actually a different
Yeah.
locality.
Anyway,
But it's along the
have
same
you read
coastline.
have you read Novacek's book Time Traveler?
No, I have not.
Because he talks about going up there in Peru in search of fossil whales, and then he just gets grievously injured. So like they're riding these horses on these like narrow mountain trails and stuff, and his horse gets spooked and kicks him off, but then his foot is caught in the stirrup, and so the horse
Wow.
is just running and dragging his head along the
Wow,
ground along all
okay.
these rocks. Like he
That's-
almost died.
That's rough.
It was.
And that's
like
when he saw a fossil whale.
Exactly. No, I don't think he saw any fossil whales
Hit
that
your head
whole
on
trip.
on an involucrum.
Yeah. Like that famous story about how old Chucky D, Charles Darwin, came up with the idea for evolution when he was sitting under a tree in the Galapagos and a monkey fell on his head.
And a Galapagos tortoise fell on us.
No, there's no monkeys in the Galapagos. But anyway, yeah. So what was I saying? The parts that stuck with me from Nick Pineson's book, Spying on Whales, was the Cerro Ballena stuff, and then also all those sections on the right whales up in the Arctic.
Oh, is that
Have you gotten to that part yet?
Not yet. I don't.
Yeah.
I think that's the third section.
Yeah,
third
that
chapter
makes
about
sense.
the future of whales, and I'm
Yeah.
only starting to finish the.
The second section about the modern present or
Yeah.
whales of the present.
The whales of Christmas present and the whales of Christmas future.
Did I tell you about my friend?
Who's a whale? Oh.
His connection to the Cerro Ballena project.
No.
One of my friends down in Arizona,
Uh-huh.
Jacob Stevens.
Uh-huh.
He works in the same geochron lab that I do.
Oh, cool.
And he recently published a research project on the first ever successfully dated zircon from that formation.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
So we've actually got a decent date on it now?
yeah,
Nice.
first successful
Yeah.
uranium lead date.
Dick says, I want to see this guy on Twitch as well, with the safari hat on. Could really be any of us three right now, but I think you mean Fisher, right?
Yeah. Well, this is
Yeah.
the best place to see me
Yeah.
by far. I have
Yeah,
no
Turtle Hill.
intention of starting my show up on Danny's streams.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to have you,
Great guy to
Fisher.
hang out with.
Yeah. Son, but Fisher's actual dad was in the chat a minute ago, so I'm not going to make that joke right now. Ugh. But, shoot, we've been working in the field together, what is this, 4 or 5 years
This
now?
is the fourth year.
Fourth year,
22,
okay.
23, 24, and 25.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, 2 of those have been back-to-back field stints, right? Both here.
Yeah, here and then Doling's Bowl. Yeah, which Fisher might not be with us in Doling's Bowl this year. He's going to be getting ready to go to grad school
Yeah, so I'll be
in California. Bleh.
working in the ESC.
I'm kidding.
And then I'll be going back home and getting ready to move.
Nice.
But I'll try to show up and chat once in a while.
Sure, yeah.
Check
Maybe
in
we
with
can
my
do some
friends.
streams in California on weekends or something
I'd
like
be down
that.
For that. It'd be fun.
Usually, right before TwitchCon, I have to buy the mobile data package so I can
Sure.
stream via cellular networks. That's a month, so like when I'm not at TwitchCon, I'll go to different zoos, try to go to stuff like that. It'd be cool to do a stream from the Marine Mammal Center, actually.
Yeah.
I tried to do that last year with mobile data, and the signal there was it's so remote that just didn't get cell data. But I bet you I could use satellite internet and set up the mesh network, and we could do that. That would be really neat. Yeah. Starman says, so what's an extinct whale species Fisher thinks we need to know about? Yeah, here's a PSA. Fossil whales you should know.
I already mentioned Uranodelphis.
Uranodelphis.
Which I really like. Let's see, Zygophyseter. It's a really cool carnivorous sperm whale from Italy.
Why is it? Does it have a big zygomatic arch or something?
I don't know the etymology of the name,
Huh.
but it's one that's always stuck out to me.
Cool.
One of those lesser talked about sperm whales.
I like Ankylorhiza with the
Yeah.
big, cool-looking teeth. I've got a 3D printed jaw of one of those at home.
Let's
Yeah.
see another one. Ups.
That's a whale?
It's part of the same family as narwhals and non-porpoises, belugas. They're sister to the porpoises.
Pinniped or a Sirenian, but it's
No,
a whale.
It looks a lot like a Sirenian.
Yeah.
The way it's in a lot of reconstructions, but it's absolutely a cetacean.
Next, you're going to tell me that Desmostylians are cetaceans.
No, they're. I still think there's debate as to where Desmostylians fall.
They're so weird.
I've heard the Perissodactyls. I've heard Aphrotheres. Yeah, they're strange.
You know what a Desmostylian is, chat? They're just... It's like a cross between a hippo and a rhino and a pig.
Like a hippo and like a manatee thing.
They're so weird.
Yeah.
They lived in California during the Cenozoic.
All across the Pacific coasts.
Yeah.
Both Asia and North America.
I think they've been found in the Central Valley, right? Like Sharktooth Hill?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I think they span the Oligocene and Miocene.
We should one weekend go to the museum there in Bakersfield.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, they've got a lot of Sharktooth Hill stuff there. Yeah, it'd be neat to do a stream from there. And Dan the BC Man says, are you at Turtle Hill? Yeah. We have been, for our sins, we have been condemned to Turtle Hell. But we're having a good time here. There's a song. I've been trying to remember how it goes, but it's like do 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 at Blueberry Hill or something like that. I don't even know the words. I just have a vague recollection of the melody. But it's like I've had my fill at Blueberry Hill or something like that. I've been trying to like turn that into Turtle Hill, but I can't remember the original song, so I'm not getting anywhere. Yeah. I lost my thrill on Blueberry Hill. Something like that, Claire. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Fats Domino. I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody, despite his name, Fats Domino is actually very, very thin. No, I don't think he was, actually. I think he was... I think he was pretty thick.
Very
Yeah.
impressive voice work. You can do a lot of different voices.
Fats Domino? Yeah. Yeah. Thin like gracile? Yeah, there he was quite gracile.
Gracile, even.
Gracile. Oh, Gracile, why can't you be true? Oh, Gracile, why can't you be pronounced that way? Yeah. Geek Store says, yeah, it was a bigger guy behind that piano. Fats Domino, yeah. As soon as he was born, his mom was like, wow, it's a big child. We're going to call him Fats. That's his legal first name. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure that, like a musical legend, this guy doesn't warrant making fun of him. Starman says, did you find any fossils in the coal layer? Maybe some plant imprints? Nah, it's just coal down there. I don't think there's been anything like morphologically identifiable, even like, oh, this was a leaf or a stick or something. I think it's just all...
Super compressed.
Yep. Just coalified.
It is helpful stratigraphically, though.
Yeah, it's nice to have a consistent layer like that.
Wonderful purpose in telling us where we are in the bed.
Yeah.
And Fats Domino's legal name was Antoine Caliste Domino Jr. Neat.
Antoine Caliste Domino Jr.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite have the same ring.
No. That's cool, Charlie's Dragon. Thank you. Yeah. And the billiards player Minnesota Fats. It's a great name. Yeah. Was Fats Domino really proto AC/DC?
Very, very pro. really like a basal.
Maybe sort of a STEM group.
STEM AC/DC.
Yeah. And Landon History Buff, how are you doing? Welcome back. There's just nothing identifiable in here. This is... At least I got a big chunk here. Look at this. Yeah. Anything? Anything I can identify in here? I don't know.
It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, that's okay. Whoever will work this bench later will
Yeah.
be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
But, I mean, it gives us information about, you know, the areas with high density and stuff.
Sure. We know there's not squat here. That's useful information, I guess.
A little bit west instead.
But yeah. Oh, Charlie's Dragon says, according to Wikipedia, Fats Domino's first single, The Fat Man, is cited by some historians as the first rock and roll single.
Huh.
So yeah, he could be STEM AC/DC.
That's funny.
That's neat. Yeah. And Gamers Tavern Show says, I've wondered why chat was scrolling so fast on Danny's wrist. Realized it's the effect of the refresh rate mismatch between the screen and the camera. Been a long time since I've seen that. Well, there you go. Cool. I don't know what the frame rate is for the camera, but yeah. And Not an Otter says, I'm more of a math. What do you mean? This is science. We're literally doing science right now. But yeah, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. This is scientific fieldwork. We're collecting specimens for the Cincinnati Museum of Natural History from the late Cretaceous Almond Formation in southern Wyoming. And yeah, trying to piece together what this ancient environment was like. This is very much science, yeah. But I'm glad you're here, Not an Otter. Let me know if you got any questions. Fall Machine says, don't worry, no science here. Besides humans, what kind of mammal do you think makes the best music, Fisher?
Music.
It reminds me, well, it was my dad gave me an old MP3 music for the field season, my first summer in the field, and I'm like, let me find some whales. An album of whale songs, and it was literally just like, it was like incredibly stressful to listen to. It was so good. It's literally just like recorded vocalizations from like a research station. But it had like album art and everything that made it look super, super serene. It was definitely a bait and switch. Anyway, yeah.
I think some deer had really nice vocalizations, like the axis deer.
Yeah.
Axis or the cheetah from the Indian subcontinent.
Axis and allies deer.
Their alarm call is quite
nice on the ears, at least for me.
They're alarm calls.
Yeah, it's kind of high pitched.
Interesting. What primate do you think has the coolest calls?
Injury, almost certainly.
Injury, yeah.
The biggest lemur.
Wait, so they're bigger than like a ringtail?
Biggest extant lemur. Of course, there are
Yeah.
bigger lemurs in the fossil record.
Yeah.
Even quite recently,
Yeah, in Madagascar.
Megalodapus and stuff like that.
Probably hunted to extinction when people showed up.
Or at least a victim of, the way they changed their...
Putting up too many Starbuckses.
I know Don has worked on, or he's been to Madagascar
Yeah.
to dig up Holocene.
The stories he has about that are really cool. Like rappelling down into these subterranean caves. Find all kinds of fossils. Yeah. And Gamers Tavern Show says, well, paleontology is just applied biology and geology, which is just applied chemistry, which is just applied physics, which is just applied math, which is just applied philosophy, right? So, yeah. Yeah. And Charlie's Dragon says, do cat purrs and chirps count as music? Certainly more relaxing than whale shouting. Yeah, I would agree. What do you think, Bennett? What's the most sonorous mammal?
I recently heard a lot of porcupine audio.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Thought
we
that
were
was
listening
quite
to
enjoyable.
Porcupine audio.
Porcupines here the other
Yeah.
day.
What do they sound like? That reminds me of like you know what a tapir sounds like?
I've never heard one.
I'll find you audio. Let's see.
Did you see that?
I think it's just really hot. I think it's runny.
It was tilted this way, and it's still coming out.
Yeah.
Those are birds. Oh shoot. This is what a tapir sounds like. Like that.
Huh. That's cool.
That's a Malayan tapir. So much more high pitched than you would imagine.
Yeah.
God, they're such bonkers animals. They look like they're straight out of the Eocene. They're so cool.
I guess that runs contrary to Matt's theory that all Cenozoic mammals go.
I forgot about that. Yeah, his Cenozoic mammal call. I don't think bats sound like that.
Did you hear that bat?
Zebras are another mammal that makes a nice noise, I think.
Yeah?
I've always been partial to those vocalizations.
Huh. I'm trying to remember what zebras sound like.
So, what?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not a
yeah,
great
yeah.
Impression, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's a little too high pitched, but you know.
Well, they do sound pretty cool. There's something like very nostalgic about that. It's like, I don't know. I think I watched a lot of African wildlife documentaries when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from for me.
And it's probably also like I bet you they play it through loudspeakers like on the Disneyland and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, loon calls. But loons are not mammals, Alexander Morrison.
Yeah, if we're getting into birds, there are all sorts of wonderful examples.
Oh yeah, that's being too broad.
Melodious.
Yeah.
Melodians.
I wonder if any
Good band
gastropods
name.
make vocalizations. Or any mollusks
I
in
can't
general.
think of any.
What does a squid sound like? Just like gross mouth sounds.
What does a gooey duck sound like?
A gooey duck, but like squishier. Gooey.
Do people know what a gooey duck is here?
I don't know what a gooey duck
Good
is.
idea.
It's a giant bivalve. It's
Oh!
spelled geoduck.
I thought that I didn't know that's how it was pronounced. Shoot. Yeah. Huh. Huh. It's pronounced gooey duck?
That's how I've heard it pronounced.
Interesting.
I don't know what the etymology is, if it's an indigenous word or something.
See it mostly on cooking shows as Gamer's Tavern Show. Are they very good cooks? I wouldn't think so. They don't really have limbs. Statsbloke says it's a clam with a giant siphon that can live for 300 years. I guess that makes sense. You can pick up a lot of culinary skills in that amount of time, even if you don't have limbs.
Delicious. Is there more Anthony Bourdain or Guy Fieri?
Definitely more Guy Fieri. Yeah. Clam with the one of those novelty visors with the like spiky hair on top that you give to your bald uncle.
And who's the Anthony Bourdain of the mollusk world?
A cuttlefish
Yeah, I can see it.
with tattoos. Yeah. Gamer's Tavern Show says they're not typically the cooks on those shows, the geoducks. More to serve geoduck, like to serve man. Yeah. There's probably a Gordon Ramsay geoduck out there. Yeah. Sorry, gooey duck. Yeah. And there you go, Crimson Carnothoris. Wants to know, what is our herd of Yapatosaurus chatting about today? Because we're yapping? Is that what the joke... Oh, boy.
Alright.
Fisher's unamused.
I mean, like, it's cute. You know, I'm partial to a pun here and there.
I'm partial to using my glue every 5 seconds.
I've got stuff to glue. You're lucky. Shoot. Yeah. Watch, I've just been like digging straight through thousands of mammal teeth.
I mean, that's
realizing
the
it.
nightmare of this site, right? Like, you get complacent for a minute, and then like, oh, did I just destroy every important fossil that's here by accident?
Always the cooked, never the cooks. Yeah. Yeah, like my phrase about, getting passed up for stuff, and like not being the center of attention, Always the pallbearer, never the corpse.
You can probably put them on.
Yeah.
What I would do is I would try to put them together as they are, and then try to glue them on the end.
And if you can't, then put them in the same bag together and wrap them up in a separate thing. Return them around. They look doable.
Yeah. One day, Danny, one day, says Charlie's Dragon. Yeah, inshallah. From that Flight of the Conchords song, think about it. One day. Oh, what does it go? Oh, shoot. I just lost my train of thought. Shoot.
I love that song.
Shoot, what was the line? Oh yeah, at the end, you're lucky if you die. Sometimes I wonder why we... Milarella says, everyone gets one chance at being the corpse. It's the most fair system, if you think about it. Not everybody does, though. Some, you know, some folks just get vaporized. Shoot, like Jim's friend he was telling us about. Yeah. they never even found his shoes. That's a grim story.
He tells it so casually, though.
He does. It's just such a matter of course kind of thing.
A lot of stories
matter
like
of
that.
fact.
Jim, why have you lived the most interesting life on Earth?
Been digging dinosaurs on the Colorado Plateau for 50 years. Worked on an ordnance testing range where several of the interns just apparently accidentally had ordnance tested upon them. Yeah.
His job there was like to photograph all the different like bolts.
Yeah, I think when they would
machinery.
they'd blow up a plane or something like that, and it would be like, got to document where all the pieces went. Yeah. And Pointy Zero says, have you seen that T-Rex? A national giant goose. It's interesting. I don't know. Like, reconstructing based on any like actual cranial data, like, you know, for Lambeosaurians it's one thing because you've got big hollow bony crests and you can build a replica of it and you can blow through it, you know. But trying to estimate, you know, like what a Tyrannosaurus would sound like when they don't have a vocal apparatus that fossilized, it's like, what are you even doing, you know? It's like, okay, it may have had a structure kind of similar to a syrinx in a bird, but not really, and we're gonna, you know, make a sound based on this really vague kind of assumption. It just feels like spinning one's wheels. That's my hot take on that. Yeah. They would have to prove it works with living birds, says Mark Bell. You could, like, here's a bird skeleton, you show it to a researcher, sounds like, and then tell him or her to try and, you know, reconstruct the vocalizations of the critter just based on its osteology, and then see if that methodology comes anywhere close to what the actual bird sounds like. Sure. Yeah. Oh, and is that the video there? Oh, goodness. Ads. This is what a T-Rex... Yeah, it sounds like they just took a bird call and slowed it down. And I don't think that's according to Sandia National Laboratories. I think they made this up. I think that was like a YouTuber who made that. I don't know, I could be... Yeah, there's a few different channels where they just take bird calls and slow them down and drop the pitch. And they sound totally other back at home, and we'll say like, oh shoot, my cat just ran out of the room because I had this playing through the speakers. Or my dog is freaking out right now. It's kind of cool, actually. Lee Lemon says, I'm here for that metal songs that sound like bird calls thing. Also the metal band Hatebeak. Do you guys know about Hatebeak?
Never heard of this before.
It's a heavy metal band, and their vocalist is a parrot.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like really raucous, like horrible to listen to bird squeaks and skrunks and stuff.
And heavy metal in the background.
Yeah. Hatebeak.
What kind of parrot is it?
I want to say it's like an African gray parrot, but I could very well be misremembering. Here, let's look it up. We got a link there. A gray parrot, yeah. Okay. Hatebeak is reported to be the first band to have an avian vocalist, and thus dinosaurian vocalist. They never tour so as not to distress Waldo. That's the name of the bird.
That's sweet. I like that.
Yeah.
Very conscientious for a band named Hate.
Hatebeak is signed to Reptilian Records. They released the album Number of the Beak on June 26, 2015 through Reptilian Records.
Wow. Okay.
The band's sound has been described as a jackhammer being ground in a compactor. Furious and blasting death metal. Hatebeak made its second record with Caninus, a band whose lead singers were two dogs. Hatebeak's goal is to raise the bar for extreme music. That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. If you had to be in a band with an animal, non-human animal, who would it be and why?
It's kind of similar to the nice sounding animals question, isn't it?
Or perhaps
It's sister tax onto that question, yeah.
perhaps the move is an animal that doesn't vocalize,
Like
so
a-
that it doesn't.
like
ruin
an
the
anemone?
music. Yeah.
A gooey duck.
A squid.
A squid.
I feel like you could sample like dolphin clicks and some sort of music.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
sure. I bet it's been done.
I think there was a movie about that, where they like made a record with whale songs and they put it on a satellite and send it out into space, and then the whales get really mad and they destroy the Earth. I think it's called Star Trek IV: Revenge of the Whales,
Oh, I see. Okay.
which
is
is
that the one that Jim wrote?
no, this is an actual movie. Jim wrote that Star Trek novel about Spock meets T-Rex. Not kidding. It's yeah. I have a copy
Sounds
of it that
amazing.
Jim signed for me. And I got a copy and had him sign it and put it in the SVP auction last year. I think Lee Hall bought it.
First novel to sell for $40 million.
Clearburst says Jillian and the Remoras. That's a cool band name. Holy cow. Have I read it? I haven't, Funny Bunny, no. And Ken says, that's the most unhinged Star Trek 4 synopsis I've ever heard. You saw the movie. That's how it goes. That was actually my favorite one. They feature, I've not seen a lot of Star Trek movies, though. Not really a Star Trek guy. But I liked it a lot. I thought that movie was great. A lot of Bay Area locations in it. And they feature the Monterey Bay Aquarium, but they pretend that it's like in Marin. But that was, I think, right before the aquarium opened.
Is that actually called Revenge of the Whales?
Uh-huh.
It's absurd.
No, it's
I
not.
love it.
I forget what the actual title is, but I call it Revenge of the Whales.
Should be called.
There's like whales as prominent characters in the film. I'm not kidding. And they go back in time to like 1980 San Francisco. And so it's like a whole fish out of water thing with like the crew of the
Mm-hmm.
Enterprise. Yeah. Leonard Nimoy's character, Spock, has like a run-in with this punk guy on the bus who's like playing punk music really loudly on his boombox.
Mm-hmm.
And he like pinches his neck and knocks him out. And everybody on the bus cheers.
I kind of want to watch it.
It's actually like really amusing. It's the perfect Star Trek movie for people who don't necessarily like Star Trek.
I do quite enjoy the, what's it called, the something of Khan, Wrath of Khan. I do like that movie a lot.
That one is good. We watched that in the field in 2013, I want to say. On a rain day, Denver Fowler had it on his laptop. And he sold me on it. He's like, Danny, it's like a submarine movie. Because it basically is. It's like,
It's true.
yeah.
Then they go to the Botany Bay and get bugs in their ears.
Did they go to Botany Bay in Australia?
No, the ship is called the Botany Bay.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
And then they get bugs in their ears.
I can relate. I feel like we've all had bugs in our ears out here. Got a fossil leaf here. Check that out. See those veins on it? That's the most interesting fossil I've found all day, chat. So you better appreciate it. I'm really scrounging over here. You guys want to see it?
I want to see it.
Sure.
It's got veins.
Whoa.
I know, look, it's a leaf.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. They're humoring me, and I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Danny.
Look at that.
Someone had to do it.
My leaf. Yeah. I'm going to put this right here next to the camera. Keep an eye on it. Then when I find a better one, I'll throw that one over my shoulder and I'll replace it. Get wrecked, leaf. Oh, but you said Wrath of Khan, and there was a fusion burrito place in Bozeman where I used to live, and my favorite burrito there was the Wrap of Khan. It's good stuff. La Paria in Bozeman, Montana. Yeah. What's funny, it was like the burritos were kind of expensive and like kind of fancy, but the people who worked there were like the most unpretentious people in the world. It's just like ski bums and stoners and like
Nice.
like really, really chill vibe. I like that place. And there you go, Crimson Carnotaurus. I think Con has an H in it, though, for the Oviraptorosaur. Yeah. Pretty sure it's Khaaf for that Oviraptorosaur from Mongolia. Yeah. Thank you, Agent Worthless, for the 4 months of support. You are worth a lot in my eyes. Thank you for helping support science outreach here. That's good stuff. Sub goal complete. Wait, did I have a sub goal? Shoot, I didn't even realize.
Congrats.
Yeah. You will need to restart your sub goal now. Can I do that on mobile? Shoot. Stream info. Stream manager. Oh, shut up. Sorry, that was rude. I'm getting echo from chat, mod actions, predictions, quick actions. Ooh, here we go. Goals. Nope. No, that's sub only chat. I don't want that.
Matrix back.
Already? Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, this one's already quite full.
It's annoying. There's a star for the sub-only chat action, but in the desktop, the star is for sub-goals. Widgets.
Did you ever end up taking a photo of the Maltese?
Oh well.
I think so.
I can double check.
I'll figure it out later.
It's already wrapped now. I think Ethan will want to see that.
Statsbook says, one does not simply use the Twitch app. I suppose you're right. Yeah. I'll see if I remember to log on to into the Twitch dashboard on my desktop if we get back to camp. That might help. Yeah. And shoot, it's 5 o'clock already. Wow. I think we're going to go until about 6 here. Yeah.
I did, for sure.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is your favorite dinosaur still Coelophysis, Fisher?
I don't know. I don't think.
What's the most mammalian dinosaur?
A kiwi.
Talked about this before, huh? Yeah, it totally is. A kiwi is a dinosaur that wants to be a mammal.
Yeah. It's basically a dinosaur that's trying to be a shrew.
Yeah. It can't fly. It's not particularly fast.
It has terrible vision.
Terrible vision.
Good smell. Good smell.
It's got nostrils at the end of its snout.
Yep.
Those are all like very mammalian traits. Yeah, that's actually like that's a solid analogy there, Fisher. Shoot, a kiwi is the most mammalian dinosaur.
Danny, what would you say is your favorite dinosaur?
I don't know. I don't really like dinosaurs that much. No,
I don't really think about them all that much.
yeah, I mean only about every waking moment. My favorite dinosaur, I've got several favorites. Shoot, Triarchunkus is one of my favorites because I'm one of the authors on the paper.
That's cool.
Whatever the official name of Daniceratops will be once it gets published, that'll be a favorite. It is already a favorite. But yeah, I don't know. I really like Triceratops. I've dug up a lot of Triceratops in the past, and they're always a lot of fun.
Up in Montana? Or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
in the Hell Creek. You're digging up a trike, and it's like, what's this one going to be like? Because they're all different. There's like a tremendous amount of individual variation, largely due to ontogeny and stratigraphy. So like different parts of the Hell Creek Formation, trikes will look totally different. Yeah, and they look totally different at different stages of growth. And yeah, so it's like everyone you dig up is like gonna be important somehow.
That's cool.
Which is neat. It's probably true for like most dinosaurs, but for most dinosaurs we don't have the sample size we do for Triceratops. I feel like this bag is getting too full.
Full, sure.
You get another one?
Thanks.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Avalanching. What about you, Bennett? What's your favorite dinosaur?
Very partial to Cosmoceratops myself.
From the Kyperowitz?
Yeah. I remember when the holotype first came out. They had a big shindig at the Utah Natural History Museum, which is where the skull is.
I've gone to see that specimen several times. I took a couple of road trips from both to go take measurements and photos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
for
cool.
Denver Fowler's thesis. It was just a nice excuse to go down to Utah.
Poison.
What's that?
Vote for poison.
Vote for poison. I need to see if I can get footage of that and make that an alert on the channel. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the first dinosaurs where I was really exposed to the like actual doing science side of paleontology. Because I was able to like go into the prep lab where they were working on it and
Very cool.
like see the progress they'd made on just the
It's neat when a dinosaur can be an ambassador for the scientific process. It's always cool. Yeah. I don't know if I get that joke, Crimson Carnotaurus, but maybe these guys will. They're younger than me. Cosmoceratops is a cool one. We just need a Wandaceratops.
It's a reference to a cartoon.
And it can grant wishes to a boy.
And it's spelled differently than the cartoon character.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that from Fairly Odd
Yes, it
Parents?
is.
I haven't seen that show
I
in
know, it's
ages.
probably been at least 15 years from now.
Oh my gosh. Throwback.
Anyway, your joke was not in vain there, Crimson Carnotaurus. I would think like Cosmo Kramer. Seinfeld. I was a child of the 90s.
You never watched an episode of Seinfeld?
No? It's not the best show ever made, but it's amusing.
I feel like it's kind of dated at this point.
I think it's probably
A lot of it definitely is, yeah. It's very 90s. And Stats Bloke says, what's the paleo environment there? I know you're on the Wisp, but is that a shallow sea? Looks like grits and sands. Yeah, so Here, I can walk you around a little bit. Thank you, Statsbook, for asking. Let me get some water, and then I'll pick up the camera and give you a change of scenery for a sec. There we go. So, here, we've got different environments represented in these different rock layers. Yeah. Oh, and Mick Canary, thank you for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Fieldwork is going well. Thank you. Hope your stream was good too. We've got coal, which is representative of like really stagnant, fetid water. This is like a swamp down here. And then you get some sandy layers, you get some mudstone, kind of a shaly mud up here. This would be probably a shallow, kind of still water sort of lake up here. And then you move up, you get some sands up there. That's like a river channel or something like that. And then you get further up and we get kind of that really blocky sand up there that we've got all the plants preserved in. Yeah, or is it a mudstone up there?
It's a mudstone.
Yeah. So almost kind of a sandy mud, but yeah. Normally you don't get plants preserved in fluvial environments. So that's gonna be lacustrine up there. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch of like environmental change going on through here. This one spot geographically hosts to a bunch of different environments over time, which is pretty cool stuff, you know? You can kind of trace this changing landscape across time. Pretty nifty. Yeah. And so more like mangrove going into deeper water as you get younger, says Statsbook. Maybe, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, Ava, who is a student at college, she is going to be doing a SED log of the site, so like kind of micros going up through these little layers, trying to figure out, is the sand finding upward? What is it doing here? What's going on with all of this stuff as it changes? And she should have a more complete picture for us once she's done with that. We've been really focusing on getting the fossils out while we've got time. But I think hopefully tomorrow Ava is going to be kind of going really fine scale detail, looking at all of these rocks, trying to figure out what's going on.
Do you think she's going to finish her 37 seconds today?
I don't know, she was on what, 13 when she came to have lunch?
Yeah.
13 out of 37. She very well might not finish it today. We'll see. Yeah. Put the encoder right here. Yeah. Missed the bit where you had the geologist. That's okay, Statsbloke. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty cool. We had Ray Rogers here yesterday. Who's a big name in geology and paleontology for that matter. There was a Scientific American cover story on dinosaurs, I think last October, and he and his wife wrote that, if memory serves. Some pretty cool outreach. Yeah. He said it was neat that some of his former students reached out to him when they saw that. They were like, at the dentist's office, just paging through Scientific American, and went, "Oh yeah, oh shoot, Ray Rogers." And they contacted him. He said that was fun. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if we actually have mangroves here, Statsbloke. It would be more like, when I think of mangroves, I think of kind of more warm, almost tropical environments. This would be a little bit more temperate than that, I think. But, yeah.
Cypress swamp or something?
Yeah, cypress swamp. Kind of think like present-day Louisiana Bayou, Mississippi Delta. That would be a good analogy. A lot of the same critters, too. You got crocs, you got bowfin fish, you got gar, frogs and turtles and dinosaurs. Well, they've got avian dinosaurs nowadays there. Here we had non-avian ones, too. Hopefully the camera doesn't fall over. I'm going to put it there. Yeah. Sort of like a fluvial forest. Calculus centrifugal, maybe. I don't know. A lot of this stuff is lacustrine, so kind of lakey. Yeah. We've got some sands in there too, so you could have streams coming through. A little bit more energy than you'd have in a lake environment. Snow Denchi says, I've been around degenerates too much recently, and thought he said, we got bofa instead of bowfin. Got my guard up for the punchline.
What's bofa?
It stands for Bank of America.
Don't you worry, you're still in the company of degenerates. Have self-control.
Yeah. Spaceberry says, have you found any dragon fossils today?
Like a million.
Like a, like a Komodo dragon, or a snapdragon, or a leafy sea dragon? No. Lots of fossil fish. Bowfin. Make sure I enunciate. Yeah. And no dragonflies yet, Cacklinsworth, but they would have been in this environment for sure. And yeah, leafy sea dragons are really cool petrodactylists. They're cool critters. I got to see some at an aquarium in Honolulu a few years back, and I just sat there for like half an hour and looked at them. It was pretty neat. I think they had leafy and weedy sea dragons, related to seahorses and pipefish, if memory serves.
They have separate branch.
I think they are earlier diverging, like crown group. No, then you're like derived seahorses.
Okay.
But I'm not totally sure. Yeah, somebody can open up the One Zoom webpage, One Zoom Tree of Life, and look. But I think that leafy sea dragons are not considered like true seahorses. They might be a separate family, but related. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. And mahi mahi too. Oh yeah, dolphin fish or dorado. It's a bunch of different names for those guys.
Well,
It's just the root. It's too bad.
What do we got?
Oh, we had a Melvius tooth that crumbled.
Another one of Melvin's teeth. Ooh, got a nice piece of amber here.
We still have the crown. Chunk of the crown.
There we go. Here, take a look at that.
Inevitable.
See that orangey stuff? That's amber right there. From a glob of ancient
I know.
tree sap.
You really have to avoid field prepping.
Here,
yeah,
take a look right there.
I pulled this slab out.
Pretty
and
cool,
it
right?
just fell apart.
73 million year old amber from the late Cretaceous. No skeeters in it, but it's pretty to look at. Getting excited over the most mundane stuff, but there's just no other fossils in here that have been identifiable. So the amber is cool. Got a nice little piece of amber, about half the size of a grain of rice.
And we'll have to bring you back, Danny, once if we get to open up another bench.
Yeah, I'd really like that. Find some better fossils.
Yeah.
I was finding all kinds of stuff last year.
I'm telling you, all the special stuff's gonna be right back there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, given what we've already pulled out of just that one little pocket, then I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of good material in there.
Yeah.
And it looks like the bone bed is thicker too, just looking at the cross section.
Just cut here in the middle and see if that yields anything. Would you be cool with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Close to the coal? Maybe not. I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah, looks like more of the same. Oh, that's a fragment of bone right there. Right here. Looks like it could be a chunk of rib from a small critter right there in the corner. Okay, that's a good sign. First piece they pulled up. We've got identifiable bone.
It's still not.
And we're in business.
Very dense though.
Yeah.
It's not like the other stuff.
It's possible that you're just like way too far above the bone layer.
Yeah. So we shall dig down.
And I don't know if you move laterally towards where I'm working, if that would also yield more.
Yeah, it
I
might
didn't
help.
find a ton in here when I was working through it,
Yeah.
but it's possible.
Could do that.
I mean, we're gonna have to take this all down anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll scoot in that direction from here.
What's this?
I don't know. Is that anything?
Looks like there's a little bit of bump sticking out right
Ooh, all right.
there. And that looks like a little fragment of it.
Nice.
Doesn't mean that it's
Yeah.
necessarily
But let me pick through real careful.
amazing, but looks like it could be something. It might also might not be anything, but
But yeah, that's more promising than almost anything else I've seen. That does look like a fragment of bone there, or even tooth. That's all it is just a fragment.
yeah, it's too bad.
But it's promising. If we've got the right kind of preservation to preserve bone fragments, we could get whole bones.
I think it's just a little rib thread type of thing.
Yeah. Lee traces any bugs in the amber. The amber's, it was too small to be able to see without a microscope or something.
For sure, you took the Melvin too.
Yeah, it's over here
Okay.
with the other stuff. I'll take care of that stuff when we close out.
Yeah, we should close up in about half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. Yeah. Snowdenchi says, do you have any special containers for things you consider more delicate, other than the bags? I use old orange medicine bottles for delicate stuff, I find. And we've got little glass vials. Fisher's got a whole array of them down there in the big plastic tote. So yeah, the extra special stuff goes in there if it's small
If they can
enough.
Fit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of wish we had more variability in vial size.
Yeah,
But
we could make that happen.
yeah, it's mostly about the fitting it through the neck of the bottle can be difficult.
Yeah.
You really force it, but it oftentimes necessitates a little bit of field prep, which
Yeah.
is like a bad habit of mine already.
Mhm.
I'd rather not nurture that if I can avoid it.
Squash that tendency. But yeah, I totally understand it though. It's like you want to see what the thing
I wanna
is while
see
you're in the
it.
field.
I want to see what's in the rock.
Tomorrow I'll try to get a count on this.
Calculus Centrifugal wants to know, are you still doing drawings and mappings of where you find fossils? For here, there's so many of them that it's, you know, and the things aren't really in articulation that it doesn't really make sense to do that. You know, this is the bottom of an ancient lake. Stuff just got scattered around everywhere. But Fisher, I think you have been recording what layer they come from, right?
Yeah, we record the layers.
So the vertical information is honestly more important than the horizontal information. And it's easier to record
if we
too.
had started by taking note of every single Melvius element, that might have been useful
Yeah.
because we think it's the same individual.
Hmm.
But that's already.
That was years ago at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, we would have had to start in 23 when we first pulled out. Melvius premium thing.
And 21 raiders from Geo Gym have joined. Well. Hello, everybody. We're doing some paleontological field work here, which involves quite a bit of geology. Glad you're here. Thanks for the raid. Let me know if you've got any questions. How was your stream, GeoJim? Hope it was real good. Yeah. Rock on indeed. If anybody wants to see some geology here on Twitch, go follow GeoJim. He runs a geology lab, I think along the East Coast, is that right? So yeah. And we are here in Wyoming right now, digging up some fossils. This is in the late Cretaceous almond formation. This seems to be like a lacustrine environment, so kind of a calm, maybe shallow lake, where you've got all kinds of different microvertebrate animals that have left their remains here. The site is called Turtle Hill on account of the turtles that have been found here. But our catch of the day today is bowfin fish. There's a whole bunch of different bowfin elements that are coming out over there. I've hardly found diddly squat over here, but I'm gonna try and dig down deeper and maybe I can find some stuff. Northern Virginia, there we go, GeoJim, that's right, yeah, sorry I forgot. But, and you had a nice chill stream today? Nice, we're trying to do the same here too. Yeah. Fisher, have you seen video of like a mother bowfin, maybe it was a father bowfin, watching over like a bunch of babies?
I don't think I've seen footage of a bowfin.
Oh really?
No.
Shoot, they're really cool to watch.
I think when I was working in the Chesapeake, we might have caught one in one of our fike nets.
Oh really? Pike nets?
Fike nets.
Oh, fike nets?
Yes.
What's that?
They're these underwater nets that we were catching terrapins in. For our population study. And we'd get a ton of fish, and sometimes they'd even pull cormorants up in them.
Really?
Yeah.
Shoot. Live ones, I hope.
Yes, of course. Everything in the nets was alive.
Yeah, okay, good.
So there were pockets of air for the terrapins to breathe. And
Nice.
we get a lot of fish, and I think it was either a bowfin or a snakehead. I don't remember what it was. I never photographed it.
In the Chesapeake, I would guess it's probably a snakehead, but I don't know. I want to say bowfin are kind of more northerly, but that doesn't sound right.
Superficially, they look kind of similar.
Yeah, they do.
I think the bowfin spans a lot of the eastern seaboard.
Yeah.
So.
That would make sense.
But it was brackish water, so I don't know if they go in brackish or not.
They probably do. I imagine them not being super picky in terms of salinity and stuff.
On like ecology of bowfin, only on the cranial osteology.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a book on bowfin, like there is, for beaked whales or leatherback turtles.
Monograph by Bemis, and who's the other one? Let's see. It's eluding me right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's ecological stuff in that too.
Yeah. And Ms. Art Rule says, what kinds of exercises do you recommend for up-and-coming paleontologists? Jumping jacks.
I was literally about to say jumping jacks.
Push-ups. Blurpos or whatever they're called.
What?
Where it's like you do a push-up and then you jump in the air.
Oh, burpee.
Yeah, there you go. I know they're called burpees, but blurpos.
I think they should be called blurpos. I think it's a lot better.
I think that's the name of a sandwich shop that you have on the East Coast. Blurpos, right? You have like a yellow and green logo. Yeah. Cripstick says, we have bowfin down here in Louisiana, but we call them chupik. It's like a very Cajun kind of thing. That's interesting. Yeah.
I think it's what's called scale bag.
That's blimpies, says Harry Vetch. Yeah, it's like a very unappealing sounding name. I don't know why they settled for that. How did that make it through review? Blimpies. Ugh. It's just a gross sounding name.
Yeah.
Maybe they're fans of dirigibles.
No, but dirigibles are not good airships.
Okay, my
Yeah.
bad.
Get your airship straight,
Apologies for my
Fisher.
ignorance. I think I just wanted an excuse to say dirigible.
That is a fun word, yeah. Zeppelin. I want to say dirigibles are rigid airships, but I could be wrong. That could be the clade that encompasses blimps and zeppelins. I don't know. Somebody can look it up.
What's the difference between a dirigible and a zeppelin then?
I'm not totally sure. I want to say they're the same thing.
Interesting.
Like zeppelin is just like
A German word?
a German word. I want to say it's a surname. Zeppelin.
Oh, like Kleenex?
Graf Zeppelin. But I'm not totally sure.
It's the name brand dirigible.
Yeah. And I am Butholio Bacher. I think I've met him a couple of times before at SVP. I think I met him in 2013. Didn't really get a chance to talk to him much. I don't know. Bacher doesn't publish very much, and like publications are the currency of our science. That's isn't published. It kind of might as well not exist, at least in the wider paleontological world. So yeah, as somebody who doesn't publish much, it's like, I don't know. I want to say the last paper that Bacher was on, dinosaur-wise, might have been Dakota Raptor, which is not the best paper, I'm going to say. Being diplomatic. He's probably been on stuff more recently, but I don't know. He does not publish very often. I think Bacher's greatest legacy might be in getting people in the general public interested in dinosaurs, which is really important. The guy is in so many different documentary books that have been really popular. That kind of popularization of our science is important, and I think other paleontologists often don't appreciate that enough and don't want to give enough credit for that kind of thing. So I want to give Bacher his roses there. He's definitely done a lot to get people excited about dinosaurs and about paleontology in general. And that's nothing to sneeze at. That's important work, and he's very good at it. Yeah. And Greasy one, that does sound unappealing. That's gross. A dead hamster in their commercials?
What?
Huh. Yeah, I don't have a lot of details. Zeppelin is a company name. Okay. It was a guy's name. Yeah. Graf is the German equivalent to Baron. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. And dirigible is a blanket term. A blimp is a semi-rigid airship, while a zeppelin is a rigid airship. Okay, so both blimps and zeppelins would fall under the banner of dirigibles. Okay, that makes sense. So a dirigible is just a lighter than air airship? Yeah. And Butholio says, in reviving interest in paleontology by publishing a theory that was so wrong it sparked increased research, is his legacy in my view. I mean, some people have said that, like, I don't know, if you put ideas out there, especially in like the popular press, that are a little bit out there, and that prompts further research, data gathering, hypothesis testing, that's one way of driving science forward, and Bacher's been very good at that, I think. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many, like, I don't know, Bacher is an ideas guy, and like Jim likes to say he's sort of a theoretician, always thinking big picture, like big ideas. Almost leaves it to other people to kind of do the more empirical work there. And there's room for both kinds of science in paleontology for sure. The more kind of lofty ideas stuff, and then the nuts and bolts, let's figure this out, let's test these hypotheses, let's run these data kind of work. Yeah. Oh, and that makes sense, Jody Fish. So dirigible is an adjective. It means steerable. That makes a lot of sense. As opposed to a hot air balloon, which is pushed by the wind. Yeah, okay.
Makes a lot.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jody Fish. Yeah. And Little Pink Pony says, did you love playing in the dirt a lot as a kid?
Yes.
Maybe not more than other kids. I don't know. I don't remember particularly liking getting dirty as a kid. I definitely get a lot dirtier nowadays than I did as a kid, I think.
Would totally like go in the backyard and like literally just dig a hole in the dirt.
Yeah.
Have a pit of mud.
I would dig big holes in my neighbors' backyards.
They love that.
Sometimes, yeah, where it's like, well, I don't know, there's a shovel, like, you know, Danny, go dig a big hole. Like, okay. And I'd dig a big hole and I'd sit in it, but I wouldn't fill it with water. I think that part would have, I don't know if I didn't want to do that or if the grown-ups around wouldn't let me. But I don't remember doing anything like overtly messy just for the sake of getting messy. But it'd be like, yeah, I want to dig a hole. I want to see what's under there. That kind of thing. Yeah. And am I hugging the world? Asking a kid. Good to see you. Sure. The dig is going well. Yeah. Thanks for your hoping there. Yeah. This is not the most comfortable position in the world. But it gets my face close to the surface, which is important. Being able to see what's under here. There's a lot of charcoal or coal in there. Ooh. I need some like belly rib to support my weight on here. So I won't crush my organs.
I mean, we can see if we can adjust the packing blankets to give you some cushioning.
Yeah? I should have just brought my butt pad today. Or the, you know, like garden knee pad thing. Kneeling pad. We called them butt pads on Denver Fowler's cruise. That's what he called them. He had a lot of different terms for like things that everybody uses. Like it wasn't a Jacob staff, it's a Stratomaster. Wind.
Sounds like a brand name.
Yeah.
Stratomaster.
Yeah, and the Geo-Paleo picks were super picks.
I've heard like 3 or 4 different names for those.
Yeah, Ho pick,
Paleo pick.
Paleo
It'd be easier
pick.
just call it a pick.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
But that could be like an ice pick,
Yeah,
aka an
it's
awl,
true.
you know? So, yeah. I don't know. I still sometimes slip up and call them paleo pick, or super picks. Yeah. And hey, HD and HB, welcome back. Good to see you. Yeah. Think we want to start wrapping up in about 15 minutes?
Yeah, probably.
Cool. Yeah.
It's about 5:30.
Yeah. And QuakeCat UT says, at least you don't have to deal with deer ticks. No, we're doing well out here. I'm not complaining. But yeah, it is nice not having deer ticks out here.
We have ticks of any sort out here.
Oh yeah, I think they're like
I haven't seen any.
dog ticks is what they're
Okay.
called. They're like brown and red
Yeah,
dog ticks, I
I'm
think.
familiar with dog ticks growing
Yeah.
up in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it doesn't seem like amazing tick habitat.
No, it's really not. It's too dry. Yeah. And luckily we don't have like elephant ticks or anything either. You get, you know, pretty big. Be like dinner plate size.
See the shadow crawling up your tent.
Yeah. Petrodactyl says, I'm sorry, how big are elephant ticks? They're about the size of an elephant, as the name implies, you know? Yeah. And Little Pink Pony says, are there scorpions or tarantulas? There are scorpions out here. Yeah.
Some regularity. I
We-
haven't ever seen a tarantula out here or in the bowl.
Nope.
I imagine they're around.
But we do get scorps and scents.
There was a spider in my tent last night.
Centipedes.
I don't know what kind it was though.
I haven't seen a centipede out here either.
You haven't?
Have you?
I want to say I have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw some big ones down in St. George. I want to say I've seen centipedes here, like, in moving some of the bigger chunks of rock from, like, the Ceratopsian quarry. Just like kind of little yellow desert centipedes.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing big. No millipedes. No eurypterids.
What?
No. No pseudo-riptorids either.
Our fair share of arthropods, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, lots
Quinn has seemingly upset the insect queen.
Yes, this is true. He's got his tent set up there on Spider Ridge. I was telling him he should move it to a nicer spot, like Tick Gulch or Hamburger Hill. I heard they have excellent schools there.
Cost of living is just way too high. Down in Tick Gulch.
Down at Tick Gulch, yeah.
No, Roundworm Ridge seems pretty cheap.
Yeah. Flea Canyon, I hear, is it's gentrifying, but it's not too expensive yet. Bedbug Hollow. Cripstick says we have swamp ticks down here that are spicy if you eat them.
I don't know why anyone would ever do that.
Oh, are you an opossum? I know they like eating ticks. Yeah, opossums are so cool. They're like such an underappreciated animal. North America's only native marsupial.
My mom hates them, and I'm like,
Maybe the U.S.'s only native marsupial? She doesn't like opossums?
no, she hates them.
Wow, why?
She hates their tails.
Does she like rats?
No.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
She's like, they have gross tails.
She'd be like, I love rats, but I hate opossums. I'm a placental appreciator. None of this marsupial. Yeah.
Pouches are offsetting.
And Snowdenchi says a study came out that said the opossum tick eating thing is a myth. They dissected some and found basically no ticks. Interesting. Wow, because I've been hearing that since I was a kid, that opossums will eat tons of ticks. But maybe that's just a thing that conservation people say so that people will like opossums. I know I've said that before. Where like somebody gets upset that there's an opossum in their yard and like say, no, they're good. They eat ticks. And people go, oh, cool. Okay, I like them now. It's funny how fickle people can be about animals. It's like, can't you just appreciate it on its own merits? Like, it's a cool living thing in your backyard. How lucky are you? Like, they could go anywhere, but they want to live next to you. It's pretty neat. Yeah.
Oh, it's back here.
Paleo Ken says only the good beasts. I think I missed what we were talking about, but that's okay. Yeah. Get the same kind of hate despite people not realizing they're great free pest control. Yeah, snakes. Oh, by the way, shoot, I didn't tell everybody. On the drive out here, yeah, so I was kind of leading a caravan of vehicles and then I see what looked like a rope stretched out across the road, and I come skidding to a stop just in front of it. It's a beautiful gopher snake. So I ran to the back of the car and got my snake stick and kind of like pushed down just behind its head, and then went back and grabbed it and picked it up. Do you have those pictures, Fisher?
I do.
Awesome. I'd love if you'd send some of those. But yeah, beautiful gopher snake this morning. Yeah, lovely. And got to show it to some of the people in the other vehicles too. That was awesome. Oh, that was a niche joke eutherian, good or true beast as opposed to metatherian. That makes sense. Yeah, there you go, Pelican. Yeah. But yeah, I should have given you my phone so we could take some pictures. But
I sent you some.
oh, nice. Okay. Let's see. Thanks, Fisher. Might take a minute to come through, but I should be able to get them that we've got the Wi-Fi on. Did you email them or text them?
Text them. Is it 1842
No.
for the password?
Huh?
1842 is the password?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dinosaur, yeah,
It's all
1842.
lowercase?
No, the D is capitalized.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, thanks. Anytime I can save a snake from the road, and I feel like I've done this gopher snake or a bull snake crossing the road, I'll see it just at the right instant, stop the vehicle literally inches from its head, like almost crushing it, and then pick it up and usher it to safety. Oh, thanks, Fisher. Oh, nice, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. There's me and gopher snake friend this morning. Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, very cool.
Hello.
Hey, Ava. How's it going?
Good.
You finished at 37?
I did.
37. Wow. Nice.
My last
That's
one
impressive.
went to North.
Very nice.
This is 38, I guess.
This is good timing, too. We're thinking about wrapping up pretty soon.
Perfect. Yeah, I was like, at 4 o'clock I realized that I was going to be finishing just around 6. So
Nice.
I'm grateful to be done with this part.
Cool.
That's a good spot.
Let's see. Pull up chat again. There we go. Claire Burr says, would you please tell Ava her shirt was awesome yesterday? Tabasco is life. Nice. It's good stuff. Not a sponsored stream, however.
Not yet.
Yeah. And we'll see about Taco Bell, you know?
I've been unsuccessful in removing that bad boy.
Just can wait for tomorrow. The goal for me tomorrow is to get this capped.
Hike the Earth says, yuck, you don't like Tabasco sauce? Shoot. Yeah, I guess not everybody does.
More of a Cholula guy myself.
Yeah? A
I
Cholula or
have a sriracha
Tapatio?
shirt as well.
Yeah?
Not here.
Those are competitors.
I like
You
the-
can't support both.
No, it's got to be Ford or Chevy. No, Toyota all the way. What are your favorite brands and or products, Fisher?
On the topic of hot sauce, I really like El Yucateco. I don't know if
That's really
I
good.
don't know if
Huh.
that's how it's pronounced in Spanish.
Yeah. Sounds like it is.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah, Yucateco is so good, says Pate B. I know it, yeah. Ios really likes Crystal hot sauce. I think it's like Louisiana hot sauce. Is that the... Yeah.
Angry Aardvark is also quite good.
Angry Aardvark.
Or it's something Aardvark. It's
Yeah.
super expensive though,
Yeah.
but it's quite good.
We've got a chatter and a moderator in our channel who I think still works for a hot sauce company, which is really cool. Yeah, Pepper Palace. There you go, Sloppy Salamander. Yes, indeed. That's good stuff.
There's a Pepper Palace outlet in the outlet mall in Park City.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that
Shoot.
crazy?
That's really in Park City, Utah.
Yeah.
I might have to
like
stop
a big
there.
Outlet mall.
Yeah. Very cool. Huh. HD and HB says the best hot sauces have names you can't use on this stream. Yeah, I've heard some of them. Yeah. Mixing like various, like evil figures from religion with various body parts and stuff like that. I think we know what we're talking about, yeah. Don't try and type it in the chat. Yeah. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it was great, Salamander. It was wonderful you sending that box. We really appreciate it. We're still going through a lot of that. Lordy's been doing a lot of cooking with a lot of those hot sauces. Yeah.
There's a local company in Utah called Van Quartel. They make really good hot
Van
sauce.
Quartel?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, some of the best pizza I've ever had was in Salt Lake. It was a vegan pizza place.
Do you remember what it was called?
I don't. I want to say it was in like South Salt Lake in like a kind of a newish looking shopping center. Yeah, I was dating a gal at the time who was vegan, and we went there, and it was really good. I never thought vegan pizza, like I'd never thought about it before, but yeah, it was excellent. And Salamander says, if you go, you can put my email to get the employee discount too. We'll see, Salamander, yeah. That might be neat. There is a chance I might be stopping in Park City on my way back to Salt Lake. We'll see. I think it was last year, or maybe the year before, I got a hotel in Park City because it's a lot cheaper for whatever reason than Salt Lake.
Where did you stay? Do you remember?
It was at... It's like one of the big name hotels, but it wasn't like a high rise. I forget.
That's okay.
But on my way out here this time, I stayed at the Radisson, I think, in Salt Lake. The one that's like just across the street from Temple Square.
Oh, sure.
That was really nice. I got a screaming deal on it too.
That's a pretty new hotel.
Yeah. Or they recently remodeled it, I
Used
think.
to be the Red Lion, I think, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's it. And then the Red Lion went bankrupt, and people started squatting in there.
Really?
Building.
Oh, okay.
And kicked out all the squatters.
But it's right next to the Symphony Hall, I think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that's the same place. Underground parking garage.
Yeah.
No pool. I was surprised. And a little disappointed, but everything, and also no free breakfast or anything. But the, yeah, apart from that, it was a good, it's a nice place. Yeah. Anywho, people are talking about hot sauce and stuff in the chat. Yeah. Oh, Jody Fish says via 313. That sounds like it might be it. Via 313 Pizza? Do they do? It's like a vegan pizza place in Salt Lake.
I've never even heard of that place.
It might be. Yeah. Anywho, I think it's time for me to wrap up this stream because we gotta get packed up here and, yeah. I also need to, like, check my email and stuff because I keep forgetting to do that. So I'll take this opportunity to get that done. I'll try not to tear the cable out of this. But yeah. Everybody, thank you for tuning in today. I know it was kind of a chill stream, pretty casual today. Not a whole lot of fossils on today's stream, but you know, that's how some of these days go. I try and stream every single day out here, and so not every stream is going to be an absolutely action-packed fossil-a-minute extravaganza. Some of them are going to be a little bit more chill, casual conversations. You know how it goes. But man, am I filthy. Look at my hands right now. All that coal dust. Holy cow. Sometimes I think, wow, I'm looking really tan. Nice. And then it turns out it's just, yeah, oh boy. Going through a lot of wet wipes tonight, I predict. Disgusting, says Snow Denchi. Yeah, it really is like coal mining. At least, hopefully it's not all over my face. Yeah. Anywho, let's find somebody to raid here real quick. And here, Lee Lemon says you'll have a very satisfying shower when you get home. Yeah, that's first shower I predict on June 30th. So it's like, what, 20 days away? Almost 3 weeks? Yowza. Yeah, it will be very satisfying, and also I hope not to clog the shower drain with all of the matrix that will be sloughing out of my hair and off my skin and everything. Just a whole deposit of, you know, Cretaceous strata there in the hotel shower. That's going to be something. Anywho. We can raid into somebody doing, who else is live right now? I don't know if I like this view on the app. I might try a different one. Let's see. Hoot House live stream, Marine Mammal Rescue, Melissa in Denial, California Burbs. Yeah. Let's read into Danielle Allard. She's doing some music right now. Yeah, that'll be good. Hang on, did that work? I can't even tell. Dumb. Okay. Here. My channel. Chat. There we go. It is going. Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for hanging out with us for this nice casual stream here at Turtle Hill, excavating these fossil microvertebrates from the Almond Formation. It's been a good day, I think. Pretty chill one. Some days are like that. Thank you to all the new followers, the raiders, the new subscribers, the resubscribers, the cheerers, and the gifters who make these streams possible through their financial contributions. I appreciate you tremendously. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you to the moderators who keep this train on its tracks for every single stream. Keep this a safe and welcoming community for everybody. It means a lot. And thank you to everyone who asked questions and just kind of shared their enthusiasm and their curiosity today. That's what it's all about. With any luck, I'll be streaming again tomorrow from probably a different fossil site, but we'll see. But tune in then if you want to figure out what we're doing. All right, take care, everybody. Let's go check out Danielle Allard. Bye-bye.